So hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto joins ANBU after Sasuke's retrieval mission. Part 2. If you guys enjoy this, comment down below. And let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content. And leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And also share this video with your friends. And check out the description. And check out my playlist. So let's start the video. Chapter 6. Infiltration. It had taken both teams 2 days to reach Konoha. They were traveling at a moderate pace as there was no hurry to return. Reaching the gates of Konoha, their senseis were filling in the details of the team on a paper that the gate guards had provided them when an ANBU appeared in front of them. Team 7 and Team Guy Hokage-sama requested your presence as soon as you returned from the mission, he said, and left with a short bow. They left via Shunshin or in Naruto's case in a yellow flash, while Guy and Lee ran after them at full speed. Reaching her office, Kakashi knocked on the door and they all went inside hearing a come in. They walked in one by one to see teammate already inside, probably to ask for a mission to go on. Kurenai's mood brightened up to see Naruto for some reason, but stopped herself when she saw everyone in the room. Team 7 and Team Guy, I received Naruto's message from Kitsai, but I would like to hear it from all of you about the S-rank mission, Tsunade said while teammate was also interested in hearing about the mission. That would be the mission for you, Kurenai and team. Please leave the room. We would also like to hear about the mission. Kiba exclaimed and then realized he had spoken a bit too loudly. If you would allow Hokage-sama, that is. Fine, I don't see any reason not to, Tsunade replied. While this was going on, Naruto walked toward the Hokage portraits on their left side and lifted his father's photo frame. This got everyone's attention in the room as Naruto placed a Hiraishin seal marker on the back of his portrait. What are you doing, Naruto? She asked him, a bit confused by his actions as he placed the frame back and slightly turned towards her. What, can't his son see his father's picture? Anyways, I was placing a seal on it so the next time I have to come and meet you, I can directly teleport in here rather than near the Hokage building. By the way, where is Hirosenin? I haven't seen him in a while, Naruto asks her. He heard the news of the Kazukiage being captured and went to gather information about the Akatsuki, seeing as they have decided to start their movement and target them, Tsunade informs him. Ahem. About the mission. We left for Suna as soon as you assigned the mission to Team 7 and we met Temari in the middle of our journey. It took us a day and a half to reach Suna. Once there, we learned about the situation and the members of Akatsuki involved in his capture, Kakashi tells her as she nods at the information. Sakura speaks up next. Ankuro, Gaara's brother, was injured and heavily poisoned when we reached the hospital. He was poisoned by Sasori of the Red Sands. I checked his body condition and removed the toxin from his body. Then with the help of a few of their medic ninjas, I prepared an antidote for the poison and gave it to him while carrying 2 extra doses of it with me. Kakashi-sensei summoned his ninja dogs to track the scent of the 2 Akatsuki members when Kankuro gave him a piece of Sasori's cloth. When we got the location of a cave from Pakin, we left to search for him with Chiyo, an advisor of Suna, accompanying us. Naruto commented while looking at his black-colored nails and polishing them a bit. Although, on the way to their hiding spot, we met Uchiha Itachi and were forced to fight him, while Naruto here got trapped in his Tsukiyomi, Kakashi says as Tsunade looked at him in worry. How was he able to fight an Akatsuki member after that was beyond her. Kakashi had to stay in the hospital for 1 week after going through one of his Manjikyu Sharingan. It was because of the Kyuubi that I did not suffer much from and Sakura checked for any injuries on me after that, so I was fine, Naruto speaks, not letting her ask a thing about how he was tortured or what was shown in the. Hi. Our team also encountered Kiri missing ninja Kisame Hashigaki on our way. The 3 of us were captured in a water prison while Guy-sensei fought him as he opened the 6th gate. But there was something different about him, Niji mentions in the end. The ones we fought were not the real Itachi and Kisame. They had used an impersonation jutsu on 2 of the sand shinobis and their main aim was to slow us down from reaching the cave, Naruto adds after that. Yosh. We saw a 5-barrier seal on the boulder of the cave, which had 4 other tags in different places. My team went to remove them, but as soon as we did that, some super enhanced clones formed before us, Guy tells her with his team nodding in approval. Each of us faced one of those clones and they had abilities very similar to us. We had a hard time defeating them and by the time we did, both the Akatsuki members were already dead. It was a trap set up for anyone who removed the 4 seals, Tenten informs everyone. So that leaves Kakashi's team against the 2 Akatsuki members, Tsunade notes. Hi. We went into the cave to see Gaara already dead with Deidara and Sasori inside. Deidara flew upon a clay bird with Gaara in the bird's mouth as Naruto chased after him while Sakura and Lady Chiyo fight Sasori, Kakashi let her know. I fought him with Lady Chiyo as she wanted to see her grandson after 20 years while I had a couple of antidotes for his poison. I tried to stop him and punched him in the chest to do some damage, but it turned out to be a puppet. The real Sasori was hiding inside it and he had turned his whole body into a puppet to live for this long and his body or face did not change even a bit over the years, according to Lady Chiyo. He then took out a puppet in the form of the third Kazekage. We both had to use the antidote for his poison attack and in the end, somehow managed to defeat him. While dying, he told me the location where he would be meeting one of Orochimaru's spies, Sakura says. Happiness could be heard in her voice at the last part. She turned towards Naruto expecting to see him happy about any news of Sasuke, but was disappointed to see nothing on his face. What information did he give you regarding Orochimaru and his spy? Tsunade asks her. Sasori said that we have to be on the Tenchi Bridge in Sunagakur to meet the spy 2 months from today, she tells her, while thinking of finally getting some information on Sasuke after 3 years. Usagakur, we had to destroy the Kanabi Bridge during the third Great Ninja War. Kakashi thinks on hearing about the bridge. I was chasing the mad bomber from Iwa, Deidara, with Kakashi-sensei. He was just flying and keeping his distance from us. He was on a constant move and I didn't have any long-range ninjutsu to attack him. My Hiraishin kunai would have just flown past him while he was moving, Naruto informs her about it. Naruto was very impressive, to say the least. This was his first mission as and that too S-ranked. He had kept his calm and analyzed the weakness of his opponent's jutsus quickly as well. Kakashi speaks in praise of Naruto. I had to use the second stage of my Sharingan to bring him down from his clay bird as a clone of Naruto caught Gaara and took him to Suna. He used a couple of his in between the fight but when he was on the ground I hit him with a Rasengan. Turned out to be a Deidara that was just a clone and he tried to blow me up using that, he casually mentions. Well, most of the people in the room look at him and worry, but I managed to survive that. Then he tried to blow himself up along with us in it, but sensei again used his Sharingan to save us. It was just a decoy from him to make us think that he blew himself up and tried to escape. Naruto was able to sense him and foiled his plans, but the next time he was dead set on blowing us apart and leaving no traces, Kakashi says, not bothering to look up from his book. That guy was so weird. He had a kind of mouth near his heart area, Naruto speaks while the rest were having a hard time, trying not to think about it and vomiting. He fed it some clay of his, as his heart started blacking out, as his body became transparent first, and then his whole body blacked out, and he told us that the blast would cover a radius of 2 kilometers. I had to think quickly for a solution and reverse summon the both of us to Mount Mayaboku, the home of Toad summons. Tsunade takes a deep breath to understand everything. So let me get this straight, Team Kakashi faced 2 Akatsuki members and killed them with the help of a Suna advisor. Not that I don't believe any of you, but does any one of you have something to prove it? Tsunade asks them. Suna took the puppet of Sasori back with them to study it or something, so you can always ask them about it. Also, I took the rings both the Akatsuki members wore on their fingers. Deidara had the one with the kanji for sei on it meaning blue, while Sasori's has the kanji for Jyoku meaning ball, Naruto tells her while showing her the rings. And what about the Kazekage? He was dead when the one tail was extracted from him, but Naruto told Kitsuyu that the mission was a success, and Tsunade questions them. About that Tsunade-sama, after our fight, we had caught up with a group of sand ninjas who were around his body. When Lady Chiyo saw him, she told me that she would perform a jutsu to save his life at her life's cost. She didn't have enough chakra after our fight with Sasori to complete the jutsu, but by that time Naruto and Kakashi-sensei had arrived and Naruto gave her some of his chakra for the jutsu, Sakura explains. Sad, but anyways, Team 7 and Team Guy, well done on successfully completing the mission. Take a week's rest to restore your energy and return to duty. I will look into the matter of the spy Sakura told us about. Team 8 was the first to leave the room, most of them impressed by the mission details except one, who was busy watching Naruto. She couldn't follow him because of the seal he made to stop her Byakugan from working on him, so now she had to watch him all the time she saw him. Team Guy left the office after that, Guy and Lee set on competing and doing challenges to test their youth. Team 7 was also going to leave when they heard the Hokage speak. And Naruto, I was worried a lot about you going against the Akatsuki on your own, but I don't think I need to worry much. Oh no, you will need to keep worrying. These 2 were among the weaker of the Akatsuki, with them having Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame amongst them. Orochimaru was once with them before he betrayed the group and I wouldn't be able to beat or kill him. He is as slippery as a snake, Naruto tells her. He was confident in his abilities and in what he had learned, but he wasn't going to say that he would win against all of them. Heck, they didn't even know the name or abilities of the Akatsuki leader, and then there was the masked man, who called himself Uchiha Madara. Please allow Team 7 to do the mission of talking with Sasori's spy, Lady Tsunade. We may be able to get some information about Sasuke-kun from him. He is a very important person for this team, Sakura kind of begs the Hokage for the mission. Who said that? Who told you that Sasuke is an important person to me? Naruto questions while looking straight at her. I don't consider someone important to me when they try to kill me twice in an hour on the same day. I won't go on this stupid mission, as a matter of fact, any mission that concerns him. If the Hokage doesn't give the mission to Kakashi-sensei then he won't go as well. So if you want to risk your life because you have a crush on him, you are allowed to do as you wish, Naruto says, leaving no intention in her mind about his opinion on the matter. Don't say that, Naruto. 3 years ago I had only agreed to train her because she promised me not to be a fangirl and get over her stupid crush on Sasuke and learn whatever I taught her seriously. Is that not true, Sakura? She asks her. A bit of dread was setting in Sakura's heart at the shift of topics. I did Tsunade-sama. I didn't want to be weak and wanted to help in any way I could, she defended herself. Oh, was that the only reason why you trained under her, Sakura-chan? He asks her while adding her name in a mock tone, or was it because the night Sasuke left, you were alone with him and couldn't do anything to stop him? Was it because you were weak then, and now think that you have a chance of stopping him with the training you have done under the Hokage? Sakura could not say anything because it was true. She did train to be not weak, but also because she could show to Sasuke that she had become strong. Tell me, Sakura, say it on my face right now that you don't love him, say it. Silence was present in the room as everyone waited for her to say a thing. Look at that. She has nothing to say because she still loves a rogue ninja, a traitor who went for power to the same person who killed the Sandaime Hokage. And to think that she made everyone believe, including Yuba-chan, that she was over him. I bet she trained this hard under you so that the next time she is not able to convince Sasuke to come back, she will follow him instead. Tsunade and Shizune were shocked at his remark. Kakashi was going to stop Naruto from shaming her more when he realized that Naruto was able to sense different emotions and would say something about it himself. Sakura was sweating, thinking about the time Sasuke had left 3 years ago when she had tried to stop him, and then when he wouldn't listen, she had pleaded with him to take her along with him. He had just called her annoying and knocked her out. I had taken a wild guess on the last part, but she really wanted to do it. She would leave the village and become a rogue ninja for a stupid crush who doesn't even love her back. When did you tell Sasuke about following him, huh, Sakura? Was it when you last talked with him? Sakura could not hear it anymore as she ran out of the room crying. Tsunade couldn't believe the fact that she had made Sakura her apprentice. A fangirl. Look, I may have been harsh and she may be a fantastic medic, but I will not risk my life while on a mission if Sasuke could be there as well. Who's to say that she won't leave the village to follow him? She was ready to turn a traitor back then along with him. What do you think has changed now? She didn't deny any of the questions, did she? Out of all the shinobi and kunoichi in the village, Bachan, you chose the worst possible person to make your apprentice. She may be good at doing Iryo ninjutsu, but she would never reach your level or pass you in terms of skill. With that, Naruto left the room to go and rest in his house after 5 days. The rest of them followed his example and left the office, while Tsunade had a lot to think about and complete the paperwork. Naruto. He heard someone shout his name from behind and turned to look at Kurenai standing there. He walks up to her wondering what she wants. Yes, Kurenai-ni-chan, is there something you want from me? He asks her while looking at her smiling. You remembered what we decided on, huh, Naruto-chan? It's not we, it was you who decided it. I just agreed to it, Naruto reminds her. She waits for him to kiss her on the cheeks as she had told him earlier, but clearly, he forgot about it. Did you forget what I told you else to do? Naruto forces his brain to try and recollect any information of the day, and then it clicks him. He leans towards her face and places a kiss on both her cheeks and sees her smiling joyfully. Sighing, he says. Do we really have to do it? That too in the public. I already had a few fangirls here and there, but the village now knows about my heritage. Is it necessary? Oh, don't worry, Naruto-chan. I am going on a date with Asuma tomorrow, maybe it will work between us, so till then, you don't have to do it. Just a hug will work, she says and kisses him on his right cheek, but who is stopping me from doing so? Anyways, I have to go and meet Anko in a bit, so see you. Naruto just shakes his head at the whole situation and decides to take the roof on his way home for his good. He didn't want to meet people who treated him like a plague to suddenly love him now that they know about his parents. Bunch of hypocrites. Running from roof to roof, he sees Konohamaru and his friends walking away from the academy. He had not met them till now, had he? He silently walks behind the trio and pokes them in the shoulder. They turn around and see nothing behind them. Konohamaru shrugged his shoulders at that, and they turned back again to suddenly come face to face with a person wearing a weird mask and screaming boo. They fell butt first on the ground as they screamed in fear while hugging each other closely. Naruto removed the mask he had placed on himself with a hinge to laugh at the three on the ground. A few tears were coming from the corner of his eyes as he laughed and held his stomach. The next second he heard a shout of boss, and he had 3 kids hug him tightly. Stopping himself and balancing his weight, he smiled at seeing them after such a long time and hugged them back. They pulled back after a couple of seconds. "Where were you, boss? We heard you had returned and tried to find you," Konohamaru asks him, while Mogi and Yuta nod at him. "I returned a week ago or something and then had to go on an important mission. It took me and the team 5 days to complete it, so you see. I wasn't in the village for a while," he tells them. "Are you really the son of the Yondaime Hokage?" Mogi asks him. He nods at that question to see all the 3 kids have stars in their eyes. "Sweet. Our boss is the son of the greatest hero of our village," Konohamaru exclaims. "You have his eyes and hair color, although there is a bit of red in it now." "It makes sense," Yuden says while nodding at his explanation. Naruto ruffles their hair a bit to see them pout at that. "So, what have you 3 been up to? Have you become a ninja or are you still attending the academy?" "We became shinobis and started doing missions 2 months ago. But we are made to do stupid D-rank missions for the village," Konohamaru tells him. "Tell me about all of that. So, you 3 somehow on the same team or not?" "We are luckily on the same team, boss. Our sensei is a closet pervert though according to Konohamaru-kun, his name is Abisu," Mogi tells him. "Well, it's good as well as bad, but that's alright. When I have the free time, I will teach you 3 things. All of them have stars again in their eyes, and please don't call me boss, call me Ani-chan or something." He then vanishes in a yellow flash, leaving them stunned on witnessing such a cool jutsu, at least according to them. 2 months later. Naruto woke up early in the morning and went to the bathroom to brush his teeth and take a bath. The last 2 months had gone by rather quickly, doing missions here and there, nothing as exciting as his first mission. Delivering important scrolls or documents while fighting bandits who were trying to stop him. Going as backup a couple of times for teams when they asked for it if he was available for the mission. There wasn't a mission that challenged him much. He put on dark gray shinobi trousers and a white t-shirt to cover his torso with it. He had decided to wear the vest on top of it so that the people who saw him at least recognize his rank and don't take him for a genin. He wrapped some bandages on his ankles and knees and put on his black shoes. He was eating breakfast and was going to do his regular morning exercise and train a bit when Kitsuyu suddenly appeared at his table. "Naruto-kun, Lady Tsunade has an important mission for you to do. Please meet her in the Hokage's office," she said. "When she asks Kitsuyu to call me it means it is a difficult mission to do. I should prepare accordingly for this." He muses and attaches his katana to his waist. Unsealing his black cloak, he puts it on and closes the button near the neck, hiding his sword and reaching his knees. He then teleports into her office to see 4 other people leaving her office. 2 of them were Kakashi and Sakura, while the other 2 he had no idea of. "So where are Kakashi-sensei and Sakura going? And who were the other 2 with them?" he asks her. "They are going to Tenchi Bridge and meet the spy of Sasori. Possibly get some information from him. Kakashi and Yamato may be able to hold their ground against Orochimaru, while Sakura and Sai will be able to handle Kabuto. Just like the canon, they will go to his base and see Sasuke for the first time in 3 years. Sasuke will try to use Kirin on them, but Orochimaru stops him from doing so. Naruto won't be there in this case." "Fair enough, as much as I say that I don't care about Sasuke, I don't want Orochimaru to take over his body and have the Sharingan. That would be dangerous. Hi, that is why I sent 2 more people with them. With you not going with them and Sasuke having left a spot on the team, I ordered Yamato to go with them, well Danzo wanted a member of his root to be in the team, his name is Sai. Probably wanted to keep him in the team that had me in it to report about me to him and if I posed any threats. Ha, joke's on him though, I am not even in that team. Whatever, I called you here for a mission. It is a very important mission for Naruto. There would be risks as well. Tell me the mission details already." I had Jiraiya confirm the information that Sasori provided. Orochimaru is in Sunagakur so they will meet his spy on the bridge. You have a mission to infiltrate his base in Atagakur. His main base. Naruto had nothing to say but. Interesting. If by any chance Orochimaru is there then you are to come back immediately. Otherwise, go to his base and get any valuable information that you can about him or whatever he is planning to do. Well, I will be going then. With that, he left her office. Checking for the necessary items required for the mission, his katana and Hiraishin loaded in storage seals of his wrist, food, water, money, and clothes if required. He sets off in the direction of the village hidden in the sound. The hidden sound village is to the north of Konoha, while the village hidden in the grass is in the northwest direction of Konoha. Orochimaru should be in one of his bases in Sunagakur, so I should be good. It had taken him 2 days of running while taking breaks in between to reach Atagakur. He had hung out with a random civilian he saw in Konoha and had answered that he was there to travel to anyone who questioned him. His henge was a proper transformation because of the Kyuubi present in him, which helped him immensely in getting into the village. For the first day in the village, he had traveled in random directions while looking around for any clues or hidden passages for Orochimaru's base. To avoid any suspicion, he had gone back to his room early and did not look at night. A couple more days of searching around for clues and randomly following around some shinobis to check for the base resulted in him finding nothing. He had decided to follow one of the patrolling shinobis that night while undoing his henge. This black cloak proved to be a good option for him to hide and wait in the shadows while his hair didn't cause much trouble. He applied a seal on him that hid his chakra completely, making a chakra monster like him that held a Kyuubi have as much chakra as a newborn baby. Not much, but enough to live. He followed him from the shadows, watching him talk to a couple of sound ninjas. He then started walking to an isolated area and came to stop by a waterfall. He looked around for a bit to check to see if he was able to spot someone and sensing no one, created a few hand signs making the waterfall stop. Naruto swiftly threw one of his kunai that embedded itself behind a wall as he watched the waterfall continue. Falling. He stabbed another of his kunai near a tree so that as soon as he was done investigating the whole base, he would get out of it and leave. Waiting for a couple of minutes for the shinobi he followed to leave, he appeared in a yellow flash inside the base. He slowly started walking forward while using his sensory skills to detect any person near him. He came across an option to either go left or right. He chose to go left, which led to many rooms on his way. Some of them were big, while at the end was a big area with lots of cages surrounding it. These rooms must be the places where he keeps his experiment to stay and maybe test more on them. This looks like a large arena where they might test the fighting abilities of their lab rats, and the ones who are not needed are killed here. This place is downright hell for a lot of them. But because of Orochimaru's experiment on them, they have lost their humanity and turned into monsters. There is no benefit in giving them freedom, ponders Naruto. Quickly going back to the cross-section where he took a left earlier, he started going in the other direction when he sensed two people coming round the corner. He ran into the random sound ninja he had followed till the waterfall and walked past them. The other two shinobis looked at him for a second and then one of them said, "Hey, didn't he just pass us to sleep in his room? Maybe this is someone else, are you sure that we have seen him?" "Yes, I am telling you this is someone else." But he wasn't able to finish as Naruto had stabbed him through his heart with the katana laced in wind chakra. His partner stood there for a second, which proved to be a mistake as a clone of Naruto came from behind him and slit his throat with a kunai. Dispelling the clone, he sealed both of the bodies in a scroll and cleared the mess. Moving ahead, he came across 3 rooms where he sensed 5 people in each of them probably sleeping. They should be all the ninjas who guarded this base during the day. He left them alone and took a left turn to see a door with no other way than straight in. As silently as possible, he opened the door to see 4 of the sound ninjas wearing lab coats and working in there, possibly medic ninjas checking on things. Quickly moving his left hand towards them, he used to hit them at a pressure point on their neck to kill them. He then sealed their bodies within the same scroll as well and closed the door behind him, but not before making a clone henge and staying outside to warn him. He entered the lab and saw a couple of computer screens in front of him. He looked to his left to see many large-sized tubes over there with various animals in them, probably not dead. On a table were numerous small test tubes containing chemicals and spread across were papers. Looking at them, he saw some observations and tables written on the sheets of paper about different experiments that were carried in this lab. All of this was of no value to him. Seeing nothing on the surface of the room, he started looking underneath and checked the roof and the ground for a secret room. He then looked at the medium-sized library and walked up to see various books on him. Just like any normal bookshelf would have. He moved the shelf a bit to see if there was something behind it. Tapping the wall behind it with his knuckles, he heard a hollow sound that would not have been in the case of a solid wall. Pushing it with force, he moved it aside to go into the room. It was a small room, not looking any important at first view. Just had a table with a diary on it along with some documents near it. Although, there was a tube filled with blood in it alongside a jar with a green liquid present that carried a pair of Sharingan eyes. How does he have them? And if he has these eyes with him, then why is he after Sasuke's body? Nothing made sense to him, so he kept the vial down and picked up the diary. Opening the first page, he looked inside and realized that it was Orochimaru's journal or records kind of book. He flipped through a few of the pages and read it. Yes. After so many years of researching and experimenting on different people, I have finally made a breakthrough. With this monumental success, I will be able to become immortal and learn all the jutsus in the world. But I will have to keep changing bodies to live that long. A small price to pay for salvation. Sarutobi-sensei found my lab in Konoha. To think that he was able to find me, but the old fool didn't have the heart to kill me and finish the job. Kukuku, now I have to prepare the jutsu that would allow me to take over other bodies, making me immortal. The Sharingan will be an important tool in my quest to learn all the jutsus of the world with its ability to copy the jutsus it sees. I would need a spy in Konoha now that would help me in getting a pair of these eyes. Naruto was absolutely disgusted by his thought process. In his fear of dying and greed for learning, he destroyed many lives from his experiments. To create a jutsu for taking over someone's body was horrible on a different scale. Flipping through a few pages he stopped on the one about Hashirama Senju. I got hold of the first Hokage's body and researched his body for secrets. His chakra is very potent, if his blood is injected into someone, they may die of its side effects before the merging of his cells is completed. Out of the 60 Konoha orphans that I experimented on by introducing his blood into their system, only one survived, Tenzo. He was the only one who lived through it and has shown the signs of performing Mokuten Kekkei Genkai. I cannot risk interjecting his blood into my system. Naruto looks over to the tube containing the first Hokage's blood and cells. He was here to collect anything of importance, so he kept the tube as well as the jar with the Sharingan eyes and a storage scroll inside his black cloak. He would reach Konoha and give both of them to Bachan to decide what to do with them. You should use Hashirama's blood for yourself, Ninjin. Kyuubi advises him. What? No, didn't you read the part where he said about only one of them surviving the experiment? Orochimaru may be insane, but he wouldn't be writing lies here, would he? Naruto questions him. It is true, but those kids didn't have a living inside them from the time they were born. He tells Naruto. What's the fact that you have been living inside of me got to do with this? Naruto asks him, getting nowhere with his answer. Because I have been inside you from the beginning, my chakra has always been present inside your body, mixing with your chakra since you were born. That is why you cannot do medical ninjutsu, because of my chakra alongside yours. If you were to insert his blood into yours, his cells would try to overwhelm your blood cells, but my chakra will try to stop his blood cells from killing you. As soon as my toxic chakra comes in contact with his blood cells, they latch onto my chakra and try to subdue it, leaving your body and chakra alone. The Kyuubi explains the process to him. But didn't he stop you from fighting alongside Madara when he fought against you? And that's why nothing will happen to you other than a couple of days of fever. When his blood was introduced into their body, his cells fought against the experiment's body and killed him. On the other hand, inside you, they will fight my monovalent chakra to defeat them and then stop there. When that is done and yours and his blood coexist, I will be able to merge both his cells and DNA into your body, allowing you to not die. That was a lot of new information for Naruto. Who knew that the Kyuubi could do all of this? Okay, so it is clear that I won't die from it, but what would be the benefit from all of this? Kyuubi just stared at him as if he was the dumbest person alive on the planet. Sometimes you ask questions like these that make me think you are still a 13-year-old idiot. By doing so, you will be able to use Mokuten as well as learn to do medical ninjutsu if you want to. Also, it would help when you learn to use Sage Jutsu as your Toad sensei does. Hashirama had mastered gathering natural energy around him and became a true sage, his cells would help you learn it easily. I do get what you are telling me and I see the benefits of it, but I don't think that I can do it. Not until I seriously need to inject his blood. But I will keep in mind whatever you have told me. Naruto tells him what he thinks. Whatever, just keep both Hashirama's blood and those Sharingan eyes to yourself. If you give them to your Hokage, you would never be able to use them. My new spy, Kabuto, found out about the mission given to Uchiha Itachi about the extermination of the Uchiha clan. The clan was planning on doing a coup d'etat and taking over the village, so Itachi was given a mission to kill all of the clan members, but he left his little brother alive. Kabuto also got 3 pairs of Sharingan eyes for me from their dead bodies, one of them being of Itachi's mother, Mikoto Uchiha. Oh my god. He was ordered to kill his entire clan in a single night. How could he have gone through it? I would have never in my life been able to kill my own parents like that. But why? All of this for the village, to kill his own clan members. I guess I cannot learn everything from here. He has got my respect as an Uchiha. He has killed almost all of that cursed clan in a single night. No, he could not have killed the whole clan alone. I don't think he would have had that much time to kill every single one of them and then become a missing ninja. Someone must have helped him. It doesn't matter now, does it? Whoever helped him has done the right thing in the cleaning of that clan. Why do you hate that clan so much that you would be happy that every one of them died? I have been captured twice by the ninjas of that clan. At first, it was Madara during his fight with Hashirama, and then the second time was a fake Madara who caught me in it to work for him, using the Manjikyu Sharingan. The Kyuubi replies with a bit of venom in his voice. So you can't blame the entire clan for the wrongdoing of 2 people now, can you? That clan is dangerous because of their curse of hatred. Nobody feels the love as strong as the Uchiha clan. So when they lose a close friend or lover, their eyes go through immense pain and turn into the Manjikyu Sharingan, the same eyes that have the capability to hold off like me. Their strong love for the close ones becomes a deep hatred for the one who caused them such pain. Then why are you asking me to keep this pair of eyes with me? Do you not remember the last time Itachi said about Mikoto awakening the Manjikyu Sharingan when my mother died? I am just telling you to keep it so that it doesn't go into the wrong hands. I never said anything about you transplanting them into your eyes. And secondly, I trust you enough that you wouldn't try and control me. Oh. But I thought you hated me and humans in general. You haven't demanded things from me and are smart for yourself, unlike your 13-year-old self, who I hated. And I still hate most human beings, they keep us all locked up in cells for centuries and then accept us to be not angry with them. Yeah. Being sealed into someone and being alone in there can be pretty bad most of the time. Well, I am sorry for whatever you have gone through and I hope you haven't been as much bored with me as the rest of you, Naruto tells him and then continues reading his diary for any other things. I will have to leave the Akatsuki immediately. I tried to take over Itachi's body for myself, but he caught me in and chopped my hand off. He is too good for me to go against him. I transplanted 2 pairs of the Sharingan into 2 test subjects and the results weren't too great. Because they were not of the Uchiha clan, the chakra cost of using their eyes is too much. I cannot waste the last pair of Sharingan eyes like that and also, I cannot transplant those eyes into me because of the chakra cost. I will have to try and get Itachi's little brother's eyes as he is the only one left. My former root master, Danzo, came to meet me today with an interesting offer. He was the one along with the 2 other council advisors who ordered Itachi to kill his clan. Poor Tsurutobi-sensei wouldn't have the heart to do so. Like Kabuto, he had asked his other root agents to collect the Sharingan eyes from the dead bodies of the Uchiha clan members. What he didn't know was that Kabuto worked for me as well. So he was ordered to surgically remove the eyes so that no harm came to them and he got me 3 pairs of Uchiha eyes. Danzo has told me to create a prosthetic arm for him using the first Hokage cells and implant 10 of the Sharingan eyes that he has with him. The natural healing ability of the first cell will allow him to easily use the arm without any drawbacks. In return, when I attack Konoha during the Chunin exams final, he will tell his agents to not interfere in the invasion. So it was Danzo and the 2 old advisors who ordered Itachi to do so. Thank God Sandaime Jiji was not involved in any decision about killing the clan, otherwise I wouldn't have known what to do. I don't know much about these 3, except for the part that they along with the civilian council had made my childhood hell. Itachi left Sasuke alive for some reason, maybe love for his younger brother, but he didn't tell him the truth. And now he has painted himself as the bad guy for Sasuke to kill him. Has he even considered the fact that what would happen if he somehow knew the entire truth about the reason behind the Uchiha massacre? The invasion was semi-successful, I wasn't able to lay much waste to Konoha because of that damned Kyuubi brat, stopping the one tail alone. But I was able to kill off Tsurutobi-sensei and mark Sasuke-kun with the curse mark. Now that he would see Uzumaki Naruto's progress, the seal would start to affect his thinking and corrupt him slowly. Eventually, he will fall into the dark side and join me. So the seal had a hand in making him power crazy most of the time. Orochimaru's soul would be in the seal, filling him with thoughts about revenge and power. But the words that he spoke and the things that he did seemed pretty real to me. I don't know what to believe in. Naruto ponders on it while remembering his fight with Sasuke in the Valley of the End. That is it, the diary is finished. Let us see, after this, the next 3 years would have probably been spent on his training and then in the next 6 months of it, he would be ready to take over his body. I would say that probably about 3 to 4 months are left for it, but I don't think Sasuke would sit and watch it, not until he gets his revenge, Naruto says to himself. Looking around the secret room for any other thing to bring with him, he double-checks whether or not the tube with first Hokage's blood and the vial with the Sharingan eyes are there or not and confirms them to be sealed in his black cloak. He senses the Hiraishin kunai he had placed outside the base earlier, he teleports to it in a yellow flash. He quickly runs in the direction of the Land of Fire's border. It had been a day of running and a bit of resting to eat or sleep at night when he had reached the borders of Fire Country. He had been resting against a tree while preparing to eat lunch for a bit when he heard the snap of a twig. Quickly getting up, his right hand had reached to the handle of his katana that was inside his cloak and strapped to his waist. He wasn't asked to wait for much when Itachi came in front of him, walking from the other side of the forest. So, the Akatsuki has decided to finally capture me, huh? Although I don't see Kisame with you, do you believe you could capture me alone? Naruto asks him, not believing in himself to survive against Itachi if he was serious about it. I could, probably. But that is not what I am here for, Naruto-kun, Itachi tells him and then activates his Manjikyu Sharingan and captures him in a Tsukiyomi. Inside the Tsukiyomi world, Naruto once again appears in the not-so-now foreign place, but this time he isn't hanged or stretched across a cross post. He sees Itachi standing a few feet away, opposite him. I am just here to talk for a while with you, and Zetsu could probably spy on us, so I had to use this on you, he informs Naruto. So that aloe vera plant thingy guy's name is Zetsu. Weird, but anyways. It is good that you found me here. Wait a minute, how did you know I was here? Naruto asks him. After our last meeting, I had a crow summon me to follow you from a distance so that the next time you were out of the village, I could talk to you. Well, I found something interesting a while ago, and it has to do with the truth about the Uchiha massacre, Naruto tells him, while he has an impassive face on. There was nothing to be found about it, Naruto-kun. It is all in the public, you can ask anyone in Konoha about it, and I am sure they would tell you what happened, he tells him. Yeah. But the villagers in Konoha are fools. They treated me like the Kyuubi, and they don't know the real mission that was given to you by the village elders, now do they? He has somehow gotten hold of the information about the mission I was given. There is no point in hiding it from him now. Itachi thinks and sighs deeply. It is true, whatever you have read from somewhere. But tell me, how did you get hold of this information? Danzo and the two elders wouldn't have risked anyone finding the real truth behind it, Itachi asks him, keen on knowing about it. I just raided Orochimaru's main base in Odo a day or some time ago, where he had a diary of sorts. He had a spy in Konoha that somehow knew about this mission of yours. That's not possible. Other than the three elders, third Hokage and me, no one else is supposed to know about this, especially not Orochimaru. That spy, Kabuto, it seems like he was a root agent working for Danzo, while at the same time providing information to Orochimaru. Naruto tells him well he has some understanding about it. Kabuto is a medical ninja, so he was one of the few ordered by Danzo to harvest the Sharingan eyes from the dead people of your clan. This was new information for Itachi. He knew the deed Danzo had done against Uchiha Shisui, but to take out the eyes of his dead clan, Shinobis was way above the line. But he couldn't do anything against him till the time he was in the village. He seriously needed to die. That's not all. Orochimaru confirmed the credibility of the information from Danzo himself when he came to Orochimaru to implant 10 Sharingan eyes in his right hand. It is made of the first Hokage's cells. To be honest, I don't have any clue of what Danzo plans to do with 10 eyes on his hand, Naruto says while trying to figure out a reason. Itachi knew exactly why he was doing it. There is a forbidden technique among the Uchiha clan that is called Izanagi. With a user will apply an illusion to a target's senses, causing the target to experience things that are not real. With Izanagi, the user applies an illusion to reality itself, giving the user control over what is and is not real for as long as Izanagi is active. And how does it help him? Like why get 10 of the Sharingan eye? Naruto questions him. He understood the forbidden technique and what it could do, but not the reason behind Danzo's motive. With those 10 eyes what he can do is rewrite reality 10 times over. If you manage to kill him somehow, at the cost of permanent blindness of one of those eyes, he can make his death seem like an illusion, and he can keep doing it repeatedly for 10 of those eyes, Itachi explains it to him. So he kind of activated a cheat code, and that gives him 10 extra lives in a fight. It would be annoying to keep on killing him, but not see him die. Or I could just apply a complex and effective chakra stopper seal on him that would stop the entire chakra flow in his body, making everything useless, Naruto says, while looking like he was talking to himself. That is impressive, Danzo wouldn't be much of a problem for you, but then you are a seal master, so something like that should be expected from you. Do you think anyone else other than you would be able to do it? Itachi inquired about it. That's the problem. These types of seals require a lot of chakra to work, and Uzumakis are known for having large chakra reserves. I have it in me, making it a lot easier for me to do it. Not so much for the regular Shinobis, Naruto tells him, a bit of disappointment on his face. Another thing, when Kabuto was ordered by Danzo to collect the Sharingan eyes, he gave Orochimaru 3 pairs of those eyes, 2 pairs of them he wasted on test subjects, and the last one, Naruto unseals the green vial with the eyes in it and presents it to Itachi, are your mother's eyes. Itachi took hold of it, he couldn't believe that his mother was also not left alone. The thought of his mother's corpse in the ground without her eyes sickened him to the core. He held it for a minute looking at them and then gave it back to Naruto. Keep them with you, Naruto-kun. What? No. These are your mother's eyes. You have to keep it with you, what am I supposed to do with them? Naruto stammers a bit at the start. I think Sasuke will come to fight me in the next 3 months or so, and then they might get in the wrong hands. Do you know that there are no ordinary Sharingan eyes? Naruto nods, recollecting what he had mentioned the last time. I believe that you would know what to do with them, Naruto-kun. You would keep my mother's eyes safe with you and if you decide to transplant and use them then do know that neither I nor my mother would have a problem with it, Itachi tells him, the faintest of a smile visible on his face all the while. I can't just do that. Then what difference would be left between me and Danzo? Naruto asks him, dead set on not going in that direction. The difference would be that you would use it with good intentions and not harm anyone, while Danzo would be using it for himself, Itachi tells him as Naruto just looks at the eyes. But it is your mother's eyes, that has to be a reason to not do it, Naruto says. Naruto-kun, my mother always wanted to adopt you when your parents died, but the council never allowed it, thinking of it as a shifting of powers between the clans. Most of them saw you as a thing of power, even my father did. But my mother genuinely wanted to adopt and raise you. If she would want anyone to use her eyes and protect others, she would always trust her best friend's son, Itachi tells him, while Naruto was a bit sad, thinking about the possibility of having a family. So don't worry about it, Naruto-kun, whatever you decide to do with it, both I and my mother believe in you and wouldn't be mad with your decision. On the other hand, Sasuke might cry and scream about it, so you have that, Itachi says while smiling as Naruto chuckles just from thinking about Sasuke's reaction. He then seals back the vial in his cloak storage seal. But that is not why I am here. I wanted to know what you think about Sasuke. Nothing much, I stopped caring about him when he tried to kill me twice in our last fight. I have stopped thinking about him, he remarks, not understanding his true intentions. You can tell that to the whole of Konoha and fool them easily, Naruto-kun, but not me. I saw some other emotion on your face when I suddenly mentioned his name to you, Itachi tells him, while Naruto's eyes widen a bit at that. He looks at the ground, trying to figure something out. I don't really know what to think of him. I was on the edge with everyone treating me like a loser, including him, and I made him seem selfish. But in our fight, I was knocked unconscious by him and he could have killed me to get the Manjikyu Sharingan, but he didn't do it, Naruto then looks straight at him. In Orochimaru's base, I found out that the curse mark he put on Sasuke makes his thoughts darker than usual, like telling him things and feeding on the need of his power to kill you when the seal is activated. But he didn't kill me, maybe. Deep down I think he could be saved from the path he has taken. Itachi smiles at that, knowing that Naruto hadn't completely written him off as bad. He lifts the left side of his Akatsuki cloak as several crows fly out of it. One of them goes straight into Naruto's mouth and down his throat while Naruto chokes on it. Coughing for a few seconds, he breathes a bit to regain his posture. What was that for? You just shoved a crow in me just like that, Naruto exclaims. It's just a precaution for later if things go wrong and Sasuke somehow ends up trying to destroy Konoha. I will be fighting him in a few months, Naruto-kun, and I want you to promise me something. I wouldn't be alive after the fight, Itachi says. But you really have to die. I have connected so much with you in just a couple of conversations. You are like the older brother I never had, Naruto tells him, a bit dejected by the whole situation. Itachi smiles sadly at that and calls him forward with his right hand. When he reaches a foot away from him, Itachi pokes him on his forehead with his index and middle finger, making Naruto rub it a bit. There is no other option for me, Naruto-kun. I will die by his hands to pay for my crimes, while he would redeem himself in the Uchiha clan and be welcomed as a hero for killing a traitor, Itachi informs him. But why did you do it? The killing of your clan members could have never been easy and especially ending your parents' lives, Naruto asks him. I have seen war, Naruto-kun, and let me tell you, it is not something one wishes to see. If the Uchiha clan started their coup against the Hokage and the village, many innocent lives would be lost, with the possibility of other nations planning to attack the village. I didn't want my clan to be the reason for the Fourth Ninja War. But why would your clan go against the Hokage and the village they are supposed to protect? It has been Danzo since the beginning of Naruto-kun. His agent spread the word that the Kyuubi was controlled by an Uchiha during the attack. Then he relocated the entire clan to the corner of the village while the Hokage was busy overlooking the rebuilding of the village and trying to protect you from some shinobis and civilians, which was also the result of Danzo spreading the news of you being with the help of other council members. Naruto had decided that this old piece of shit had to die. All the things he had done to the Uchiha clan and him, all in the greed of power. This power-hungry whore, son of a bitch, absolute cunt of a person. Naruto just wanted to grab hold of his face and smash it against a wall and keep smashing it while he screamed and cried for mercy, none given. The clan was hated by the entire populace of Konoha. They were one of the clans that built the village and seeing their current situation, they decided to plan a coup d'etat and take the seat of Hokage for themselves. I became a double spy and told the Hokage about their plan, and with me was Shisui Uchiha, a good friend of mine. The third Hokage tried to talk with the clan elders and father, but nothing happened. Then Shisui told them about the special ability of his Manjikyu Sharingan, the Kodomatsu Kami. The technique allows the user to enter the mind of any individual within their field of view and manipulate them by giving them false experiences, making it seem as if they were doing things of their own free will. It is regarded as of the highest caliber due to the victim being entirely unaware that they are being manipulated. He was going to use it on the clan elders and change their ideas on the attack, resulting in stopping the entire coup d'etat, but Itachi was going to continue when Naruto guessed the next thing. Let me guess, seeing as the clan is dead, Danzo surely had a hand in stopping Shisui from doing so, he said. Yes. Danzo attacked Shisui with his root ninjas one afternoon and ripped out his right eye to use for himself. I was ordered by him and the other two elders to kill the entire clan, but I asked the Hokage to ensure Sasuke's safety. Naruto was clenching his right hand very tightly, wanting to just reach Konoha and tear him apart. One more thing, I said it the last time I met you, did you have some help because killing so many people alone seems a bit difficult? Naruto asks him. You guessed it right, I had help from someone who calls himself Uchiha Madara. He came to offer and help me kill the clan while in return I would join his group, the Akatsuki. He is the real leader of the group, while Pain, who has the Rinnegan, acts as the leader, Itachi informs him. It has to be the same fake Madara who unsealed the Kyuubi from my mother and caused so much destruction in the village and killed my parents, Naruto says, and then tilts his head a bit to the left. You know, if there is a room upon which is written ruin everyone's life, one would probably find both the fake Madara and Danzo fucking with each other because they love to fuck with others' life. Itachi chuckles lightly at his frustration and the way he conveyed it. In the end, I killed the clan with his help and told him to stay away from Konoha and Sasuke as well. Now that Sasuke would kill me, I believe they would try and directly attack the village to get the Kyuubi from you. He had it all planned out from the beginning, from Sasuke hating him and then killing him to him and him staying in the Akatsuki to protect the village and me. Naruto muses to himself. If something goes wrong and Sasuke doesn't plan on protecting Konoha, then promise me that you would try to show him the light and give him a chance or two. If he still doesn't agree, then stop him from continuing on his path, Itachi says pleads to him. Naruto stays silent for a couple of seconds. You don't have to worry about it, Itachi. You have sacrificed so much for the village and Sasuke, I will make sure to help him and bring him on the right path. I will also carry your will and protect the village. Itachi smiles on hearing him say that. If only your mother was able to adopt Naruto-kun, maybe things would have been a bit different. Maybe you could have changed my father's view about the village and stopped anything from taking place. But thank you for making me feel a lot lighter. I leave the village and if Sasuke goes down the wrong path, both in your hands. And don't tell anyone the real truth about the Uchiha massacre Naruto-kun, otherwise the Uchiha clan's name and reputation would change drastically. I don't understand why you would want this, you became the villain while protecting the village and Sasuke. But I will respect your wishes and do as you say so, Naruto tells him, realizing the fact that he would probably not be seeing him again as he shed a few tears. Itachi was happy that he got to talk and bond with him on such a level. How he wished his mother was also able to have a chat with him, she would have instantly loved him whether it be the loud 13-year-old kind of Naruto or this one, she would have loved him like her own son. Thank you Naruto-kun and good luck with your future, Itachi says and taps his forehead one last time. In the real world. Naruto got out of the and tried to stand up with the help of a nearby tree. Looking around, he saw no signs of Itachi there in the forest. He started walking towards Konoha when something struck his leg. Looking down, he saw a Konoha headband with a scratch along the leaf symbol and he instantly knew it was Itachi's headband. Picking up, he gripped it tightly while thinking of all the things he sacrificed for the village and his brother. He would try to be at least on some level like him, starting by leaving his ridiculous thoughts on the villagers and some of his classmates like Sakura. He seals the headband away while tying his headband on his forehead, he had forgotten to wear it after leaving the Hidden Sound village. He would also try and help Sasuke, for Itachi. If he would be happy knowing that the village would be safe as well as Sasuke is in it to protect it, then Naruto would do it, for Itachi. After so much pain and misery, if someone deserved some peace and happiness while being in the afterlife, it was Itachi. Itachi said something about the apparent leader of the Akatsuki, Pain, having Rinnegan. Is it some kind of jutsu? Naruto ponders on it, regretting not asking Itachi himself. It is not any jutsu or something. It is the superior of the three in the world because the Sage of Six Paths had the same eyes Kyuubi tells him. But aren't most of the things on the Sage of Six Paths myths? Naruto questions, not knowing the truth behind the man, no god. It is no myth ninja, all of his tales may be exaggerated or lies, but the man himself is real and lived on this planet long before you. You are speaking as if you have met him or know him personally or some shit. I feel like there is something more here, he says while raising his eyebrows twice. He got no response in return. Chapter 7. Borhawk Sensei. It had taken Naruto a day of running to reach Konoha after the successful investigation he had done of Orochimaru's base. He didn't find much in the base, except for a couple of important vials in a kind of secret room inside his laboratory. Other than that there were many experiments and human test subjects present, which he wished he could have removed from his mind somehow. Now whenever he heard Orochimaru's name, those disturbing images would flash through his mind. But thankfully he had managed to get some information regarding Orochimaru and his work. He had at this moment two very vital items from two different clans of Konoha. Two rather extinct clans. He could not deny the benefits that would come if he used both things. Kyuubi told him that he would be fine if he injected Hashirama's blood, which meant his cells would integrate with the first Hokage's cells, giving him numerous advantages other than Mokuten Kekkei Genkai. The other thing was a pair of Sharingan eyes that he had. Itachi had trusted him to use it wisely and said that he wouldn't be upset if he needed to transplant said eyes. But those two things could be taken care of at a later time. Right now the only thing, or rather the only person on his mind, was Danzo. He was a real nuisance to him and possibly the entire Konoha. His way of making sure that the village was on top no matter what was really what troubled Naruto. Danzo could ask his root agents to kill a leaf shinobi if he wanted to. He had caused him a lot of pain in his childhood, he didn't do it himself, just manipulating the villagers to think of him as the Kyuubi in human form. Don't get him wrong, Naruto didn't hate the civilian populace and some of the village ninjas who treated him harshly. No, he just didn't care for them now. He used to do pranks to get their attention all the time, but now he simply could not care about such things. He had a lot going on in his life. He was of the village, and for his parents' sacrifice to not be in vain, he would protect Konoha. Even though he was a kid and naive when he said that he wanted to be Hokage, when he saw the Sandaime being respected by the entire village, he still respected him for showing him kindness when not many did. He would protect the village and keep the hatred within himself that he may have, because if he wanted to follow Jiraiya's teachings and try to find world peace in the shinobi world, which is filled with pain, suffering, and hate, then he needed to change himself first. Itachi took on the responsibility to kill his clan, just so that the village wouldn't be in turmoil. He stopped a war from taking place because no doubt Iwara Kumo may take advantage of the situation in Konoha if the Uchiha clan went with their idea of a coup d'etat. Itachi had taught him a lot of things from just a couple of meetings, and he didn't want all the suffering Itachi went through to be in vain. He would die in a few months, and Naruto had promised to keep the village safe in his stead, and he would do so. Arriving at the village gates, he quickly went to the Hokage's office to tell her about the documents and diary he found in his base. He didn't like the idea of teleporting into her office to disturb her if she was in a meeting, so he just walked up to her door and knocked on it. Walking in, he saw Jiraiya and Tsunade talking to each other about what he had no idea. Bending the knee and keeping his head lowered, he said. "Mission accomplished, Hokage-sama." "Yeah. Don't do that. It feels a bit weird seeing you do such stuff, just report normally," Tsunade informed him. Naruto got up from his position and unsealed some pages and a diary and kept it on her table. Since he knew what was in those things and the possibility of a top secret of the village being discussed amongst them, he applied a sealing barrier around the room, not allowing anyone to enter or hear a thing they say. "What is this?" Jiraiya said while picking up a page from the collection and started reading them. "These are the things that I was able to collect from Orochimaru's hideout that she ordered me to investigate. Some of these pages contain information about different human experiments and other weird shit he has done in his time. The diary is pretty informative, I will tell you that. It is a kind of journal where he keeps his record or just writes in general about his crucial test subjects," he told them, while both the Sanins were fully immersed in going through different documents, some of them very detailed and disgusting. "By judging the look on your faces I can tell that you don't find any of it pleasant. That's good, because if you didn't do that then I would be very worried about the mental state of your brains," he states dryly, as Tsunade gives him a humorless look. "Anyways, as I was saying, the journal of his told me about a wood-style user in our ranks, someone named Tenzo." Yes, we have one, you saw him roughly a week ago when I gave you the mission. He went with Kakashi and Sakura along with Sai on the mission to talk with Sasori's spy. They returned a day before yesterday," Tsunade tells him while Naruto tries to recollect and remember his face a bit. "Sarutobi-sensei found him working under Danzo and told him that the village was looking for a wood-style user after Hashirama-sama. So he took him from Danzo and transported him into ANBU units who work under the Hokage," Jiraiya adds what he knows to this. Naruto gives a weary sigh at that. "So Orochimaru's experiment with the Shodai Hokage's blood did result in 59 orphan kids dying from the stress of his blood cells. Only one of them survived, who was put through Danzo root training," Naruto said, while thinking of whether or not to tell them about the blood of Hashirama that he found in a tube there. Grandfather's body had lots of secrets, that is probably why Orochimaru defiled his grave to study it. From what I can understand through the reports of his experiments that you have brought with you, Orochimaru thought that injecting grandfather's blood in adolescence would adjust far better in propagating his cells, but it was just the opposite. The child does not have the strength or stamina to endure the process, resulting in their death," Tsunade mentions while going through the records, entering her doctor mode, and analyzing the assessment done by the rogue. "Okay, that is one way to explain things. Kyuubi just told me that I would survive the procedure pretty easily and would not die from it. He didn't give me a detailed explanation of why these children died," Naruto utters, not thinking of where he was right now. "Stupid brat. You weren't supposed to mention me in front of anyone, now have fun answering their questions. Wait, what? Kyuubi speaks to you, when did that start to happen and why wasn't I told about it? Jiraiya asks him, but he was alarmed a bit by his statement. Naruto chuckles nervously as he scratches the back of his head. I said it out loud, didn't I? Oops, he inhales a deep breath. When I was 13 I talked to him a bit and he gave me his emotion sensing ability in return to see, hear, and feel what I did. Ever since then, he has just been neutral towards me, I believe he doesn't hate me. At least that is what I feel like. You haven't given me a reason to hate you recently and I have come to accept the fact that I wouldn't be able to convince you to release me from the seal. Do something stupid like you did early in your life and I would be waiting for my moment to kill you, he warns him. Come on, I was feeling so nice about whatever you were saying, but you had to ruin it in the end. Seriously, you need to learn how to have a conversation without ending the sentence with a warning, Naruto remarks. Since then we have had this kind of telepathic communication thing, if that is the correct word for it. It's just whenever he feels like it, he tells me what he knows or thinks. So he told me that because I have had a tailed beast sealed inside of me since birth, I wouldn't die if the Shodai Hokage's blood was introduced to me, Naruto mentions it to both. Jiraiya was worried about the seal being weak, but left it undisturbed if Naruto had been talking with the Kyuubi for 3+ years. So? You found grandfather's blood in his hideout, seeing as it was the main one, wasn't it? She inquired about it. Oh, of course, the Kyuubi wouldn't give me a lecture about why I would survive the process if I didn't have any, now would he? He tells her as he unseals the cork tube with Hashirama's blood in it, this is possibly the last test tube filled with his blood. I mean it is just an assumption because I have no proof of it. Tsunade takes the container from him to see it closely for a bit. What did Kyuubi tell you? What is the reason that you would survive the procedure where only one survived? She asked him, curious as to why the Kyuubi would say that. He told me that the Shodai's chakra was very potent and strong, enough to stop him with his Mokuten Kekkei Genkai. So when his blood is introduced into someone, his blood cells attack the said experiment's blood cells, overpowering them and as a result resulting in the person's death. Since I had the Kyuubi sealed inside me when I was born, his chakra is constantly added to my chakra pool. That is the reason why I am not able to do Iryo ninjutsu properly because of his destructive nature. Both of you still following me? He stops his explanation in between to let them process what he said. Getting a nod from them, he continues. Now, when the Shodai's blood and as a result, his cells are introduced into my body, they would try and fight the Kyuubi's chakra present throughout my body. In the end, they would succeed and suppress the malicious chakra, allowing my body to start adjusting his blood cells along with mine and mixing his DNA with mine, resulting in me being able to use Mokuten, Naruto states, as he recollects what he was told. Tsunade ponders on the advantages and disadvantages that it would have and after a minute, gives him the tube. Very well, go on and inject his blood in your body, she says. Naruto and Jiraiya were both shocked, the latter not as much as Naruto, because he also found the decision fine with him. What? You can't just do that and give me his blood, Bachan. Think about it, it is your grandfather's blood that will run through me, he exclaims. The only reason I didn't want to do it in the first place was that I was thinking of how upset you would be on learning about it. It is just his blood, Naruto. What would I even do with it, use it as decoration in my office, do you know how lame that is? Now if you told me that you sold my grandfather's necklace, then I would have been angry and upset with you, but his blood isn't that personal to me. If you brought his armor, one of his stolen scrolls maybe, or something like that, then I would have kept it. And secondly, I don't mind it and Konoha would get another wood-style user in its ranks. I find you the best suitable option for injecting his blood, the fact that you didn't give in to the temptation and do it without informing me is enough for me, Tsunade explains to him. Naruto just stared at the vial of blood and was going through whatever she said. Jiraiya thought to give it a final push. It would help you as well, Naruto, learning Mokuten Jutsus would help you in the future against the Akatsuki. I know you defeated one of their members on your last mission, but they still have many capable shinobis. You need an element of surprise against them and what better than this? Naruto takes a deep breath and decides that since he would not face any problems if he did do it and he was given the approval of the Hokage and Sanins, he would go on with it. But what would I tell those who see me doing Mokuten Jutsus? Wouldn't they question my sudden ability to do jutsu similar to the Shodai Hokage? Naruto asked them. Tsunade gave a big wave of her hand. Just tell them that since the Uzumaki clan and Senju clan were closely related, you were able to awaken the Mokuten Kekkei Genkai. Some smart people like Shikamaru and others wouldn't question the credibility of it because you told them during your spar with Kakashi when you returned that you were related to all the Hokages, which includes my grandfather. Fine, I will do it but in a few days. "There is another important thing that I read in his journal," he says, and then opens the page on which Orochimaru wrote about what he learned about the Uchiha massacre. Jiraiya and Tsunade were both shocked to read the truth behind Itachi's actions. Till now everyone believed that he was a traitor, but this changed things. "Why is there no official record of this? I have been a Hokage for years now and I am coming to know about this now," she expresses her concern about it. Naruto was going to tell both of them what Itachi had said to him when Kyuubi interrupted him. "Don't tell them about your conversation with Itachi. He told you not to tell anyone about it, but you still did. Now somehow keep this whole information in between the three of you while not mentioning anything about him. He trusted you with the full story from his side, otherwise, you would have only learned what the snake knew of the situation." Naruto thinks about it and decides to keep the conversation he had with Itachi to himself. From what I can guess by reading his journal, Orochimaru had some doubt behind Itachi's action, and then he confirmed it from Danzo about the Uchiha clan's decision on a coup d'etat. Only Sandaime, his two advisors, and Danzo knew about the mission, with the latter three ordering Itachi to kill his clan. Then with the third Hokage dead and Itachi outside the village, they tried to clear their names and hide anything related to the real mission, he tells them. Anyone could have gotten to that assumption after reading it. But why would he accept the mission? How could he accept it knowing that he would have to kill his clan and parents? Jiraiya asked, completely baffled as to why one would keep the village over his family. Because he had seen war and did not want Sasuke and the younger generation to be drawn into one as well if his clan succeeded in launching a coup. He was not a typical Uchiha who thought of the clan being superior to the village, Naruto thinks to himself as he remembers his conversation with him. "I don't have a clue. I don't think anyone knows why, including Sandaime, Jiji and Danzo, except Itachi who did it. And I don't think we will ever know about it," he tells them. Tsunade, who had been reading the rest of it, gasped a bit going ahead in the diary. "Damn him. He was working with Orochimaru during the invasion of Konoha. In return, he asked Orochimaru to make him a prosthetic arm from my grandfather's cells that is filled with 10 Sharingan eyes. How dare he do this? I will kill him for this." She shouted and smashed her table, keen on killing him right now. Jiraiya put a hand on her shoulder to quiet her down a bit. "Calm down, Tsunade, he will get what is in store for him, but we need to plan accordingly. You can't just go out with the intention to kill him. He would be in one of his root bases right now, filled with shinobis working for him. We need to wait for the right moment to strike. I think we should capture him the next time he comes out in public and allow someone else to kill him later," Naruto says, having formed a plan in his mind. "What do you think of Naruto? Why shouldn't we kill him for using my grandfather's blood like that? I told you it depends on the person that has his blood or cells inside of them. I trust you with my life and I know that you would use it for good, but I do not trust Danzo," she declares, her temper starting to rise. "You have no idea how much I want to smash his head so hard that his brain falls out. He made my life hell and he stopped Shisui from putting a stop to the Uchiha clan's attempt at power by taking his right eye forcefully. I didn't know any Uchiha that much other than Sasuke, but from what Itachi told me, maybe I could have had a bond with Mikoto Uchiha. Danzo is the reason behind a founding clan of Konoha dead, Itachi being alone amongst the Akatsuki to protect the village and me, while hoping for his brother to kill him and return a hero to the village. Look, you have the right to be angry about it, but think for a while. Orochimaru knows about the truth of the Uchiha massacre. If Sasuke comes to learn about this, then he will see Konoha as his enemy and want revenge against us. But if we give him the one behind all of this, the one who has Sharingan eyes on his right arm, then maybe he would come back to the village," he informs them, but was hiding bits of information from them. "Do you believe that Orochimaru wouldn't take over his body till then? And the other question is that would he be satisfied by killing Danzo?" Jiraiya asks him. "Oh, I know he wouldn't allow Orochimaru to take over his body. His only goal in life is revenge and he would have it. He kills Itachi and then comes back to the village, or maybe he somehow learns about Itachi's real mission and turns against us. In that case, Danzo would be the sacrifice. So botch and Danzo dies in the end and you can control yourself and your intent to kill him. But Sasuke is an Uchiha who are generally dicks and lose the sense to think in their hatred." Tsunade thought about it for a minute and decided to keep the village over her needs. "Fine brat, tomorrow there is a council meeting taking place and he should be there." "That is good, we will capture him then and keep him in a prison, but it will have to be heavily guarded. His root ninjas would try to break him free," Jiraiya states. "Don't worry about it, just call him in your office to talk with him. I will place the stasis storage scroll that I learned recently after placing a chakra seal on him, completely cutting him off from his chakra," Naruto tells them. Tsunade looks over to Jiraiya as if asking if such a seal was there and whether it will work or not and gets a nod for the unasked question. "You have given it a lot of thought, Naruto, and prepared for it," she tells him. "Well, I had nothing much to do but think about it on my way back to Konoha. Also, capturing him in a prison is a bit risky since one opportune moment and he might be gone, whereas in the stasis scroll, he would be in a scroll that I would carry around. He informs her. Also, don't tell anyone about whatever you learned about the Uchiha clan massacre. No one should know about this whether they be civilian or shinobi, as it would ruin the image of the clan that the villagers have, making it difficult for Sasuke to return. I agree with him, Sarutobi-sensei didn't tell anyone for a reason. He would have told you or left something for the next Hokage, but Danzo probably had it removed somehow. Let's just keep it under wraps and to us only, he voices his opinion to her. Very well, that is what we will do. Everything discussed in this room right now is not to be repeated outside. Well done on the mission, Naruto, you have brought us a lot of information about Orochimaru's work and Danzo's deed. Naruto bowed his head a bit at her Hokage tone. So Jiraiya-sensei, what have you been up to? He asks him while standing upright and removing the ceiling barrier from the room, as there wouldn't be much secretive talk between them. Just following trails about the Akatsuki and sometimes on Orochimaru here and there. I have a lead that may give me some information about the leader of the Akatsuki group or where their main hideout is. Naruto nods at that and remembers the mission his former team went on last week. Bach-chan, could you tell me what happened in the mission when Kakashi-sensei and Sakura went to talk with Sasori's spy? That spy was none other than Kabuto, who was working for Orochimaru. They had a fight with Orochimaru and Kabuto as Kakashi and Yamato, whose real name is Tenzo, took on Orochimaru while Sakura and Sai took on Kabuto. They were able to force him into a corner and retreat with Orochimaru, she told him, while Jiraiya stayed there to listen to it. Cause why not? Well, Sakura does have good Iryo ninjutsu skills and your strength. I saw that much on the mission I went on with her. If only she didn't do a bit of this for her stupid crush, then she could have easily reached your level or surpassed you, he utters as Tsunade sighs. She is good at being a medic ninja, Naruto, and as long as her affection towards Sasuke doesn't affect the mission, it is fine with me, even if she doesn't reach my level. Naruto shrugs his shoulder at this. Anyways, you just returned an hour or so from an S-rank mission, go and rest yourself. Tell me whenever you have decided to inject grandfather's blood into your body so I can keep a check if something goes wrong. I will do it tomorrow after I have sealed Danzo in a scroll. Kyuubi told me that it should take him some time to help adjust my body to the Shadai's blood cells and DNA in my body. With that, he vanishes in a yellow flash to his compound to sleep on a bed after a while and relax. In the evening. Naruto had woken up half an hour ago and decided to have ramen for the evening. He hadn't visited the father-daughter duo of the Ichirakus after his return. And as such, he was walking on the road towards the shop, smiling and waving a bit to the villagers in between. It did him no good in being pissed at them for the rest of his life about the past. He lifted the flap of the shop and entered it to sit on a stool. Hello, Tsuchiya-san. It has been a while. The old man turns around to look at a young man, probably 16 to 17 years in age with blonde hair and red tips. Although getting a closer look at his face and noticing the blue eyes and whiskers marks jogged his memory of a blonde kid that would eat here. Oh, Naruto. It's you have grown so much. Where have you been all this while? He was going to answer the question but wasn't allowed to. AM. Come out and look who it is. He hears the movement of feet and then sees AM come from the kitchen and stare at him. A few seconds pass by in silence when he suddenly finds himself in a tight hug by her. Naruto. You're back. Look at you have completely changed. She exclaims while Naruto hugs her back. It is good to see you as well, AM Ni-chan. I thought I needed to improve on everything a bit and thus the change. Well, it certainly wasn't a bad decision. Where have you been all this while? Nothing, just doing missions here and there, some of which take weeks to complete. He tells her and then orders 2 regular chicken ramen to eat. He was waiting for his order and thinking about the events that would take place tomorrow when he was hugged tightly from behind with a pair of arms around his neck. He turned his head a bit to the side to see who it was. Good evening, Kurenai Ni-chan. You seem to be a lot happier than usual, he says as she lets him go and sits beside him while her team follows her inside the shop. Why wouldn't she be? She has a boyfriend now and Asuma-sensei for a week, Kiba tells him and receives a fist on the top of his head. Keep it quiet, Kiba. I want it to be a secret between us, but somehow you saw us both together. I don't want you telling it to everyone in the village. It's fine, Kurenai Ni-chan, he has just told me till now. Hopefully. Well anyway, congrats on this news, he tells her and then creates a clone who gives a salute to him and leaves. Where did you send your clone, Naruto-san? Shino asks him. He goes to fetch Asuma-sensei and warn him not to break her heart and cause her any sorts of pain, otherwise he would lose the thing that differentiates him from a female. And please call me Naruto, Shino. He notices Hinata just staring at him with a blush and turns to face her as she looks away nervously. Why don't you sit with Hinata, Kiba and Shino and eat ramen with me? We can't do that, Naruto, we have to report to the Hokage about our mission right now, maybe sometime later. Come on teammate, let's go, she tells them and kisses Naruto on his cheek and then leaves while Naruto smiles a bit. Eating up the ramen he had ordered and paying them much more than the cost of the order for all the things they had done for him, he left the shop for his home when he came across Kakashi, who was reading the book he always read. Yo Kakashi-sensei. I wanted to ask you about something. What is it? Kakashi asks him. Well, on the last mission we went together, I saw your Sharingan and you never told us how you got it in the first place, Naruto says and notices a flicker of sadness and regret in his eyes. Kakashi places his left hand on the Sharingan eye for a second. It was during the Third Great Ninja War, our team was given the mission to destroy the Kanabi Bridge to turn the tide of war in our favor. I went on the mission along with my two teammates, Uchiha Obito and Nahara Rin. Wasn't Tusan your team, sensei? Why wasn't he with you? Naruto questions. Sensei had another mission to do, stop the 1000 Iwa Shinobis on the battlefront. I was recently promoted and we had a shortage in manpower during the war. During the mission, Rin got captured by Iwa Shinobis and Obito wanted to rescue her, but I always followed rules at that time, so for me, the mission came first, Kakashi tells him. But it was you who told us that those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. Then why did you give preference to the mission first? Naruto inquires. Tuckles, it wasn't me who came up with that saying, it was Obito who said it. My father was scorned by the village and his comrades because he saved his fellow Leaf Shinobis on a mission at the expense of the mission failing. In the end, he committed suicide. That resulted in me following all the shinobi rules. I am sorry. But I will tell you this. Your father was a hero for what he did. To choose between saving my comrades or executing a mission, I would have done the same as him, Naruto tells him. Kakashi smiles at his statement. Obito went on to try and save Rin while I decided to continue the mission, but later I changed my mind listening to his speech and helping him to rescue Rin. But an Iwa shinobi tried to kill us by crushing the rocks of a cave on us. I fell and was going to be killed when Obito threw me away and the rock hit him instead, he says while Naruto listens silently. After that, he gave me his left Sharingan eye as a gift for being when earlier I had lost an eye from the slash of a kunai. He told Rin to transplant his eye while he was near death. I never knew you had to go through so much in your childhood, sensei. I am sorry for asking you about your Sharingan. It's alright, Naruto, in every story, there is a lesson that helps one to grow. I learned an important life lesson that day, Kakashi states and leaves him with a wave of his hand. Naruto decided to head home and rest for the day. Next morning. Naruto got up by 8 the following morning and took a bath to feel fresh. Wearing his black t-shirt and light blue pants, he strapped his katana by his waist on his backside and completed the look with his black boots and white ninja tape on the ankles, while his black cloak was sealed and to be worn during a mission. Quickly finishing his breakfast, he headed to the Hokage Tower. He knew that by this time, Danzo would be in her office, so he teleported to the Horatian seal he had placed inside her office. Looking around, as soon as he saw Danzo in there, he did a small shunshin and placed the seal on him to completely block him from his chakra. He hadn't expected Naruto in the Hokage's office at this time and thus wasn't able to do anything against it. What is the meaning of this? What seal have you placed on me? He asks Naruto while Tsunade has a calm face and is seated behind her table. That is just a small seal on you so that you are not able to use your chakra. We know about the 10 Sharingan eyes you have in your right arm, Naruto tells him as he seals the room so that there was no way for him to run now. Danzo was on the edge of his seat, wondering how they knew about it. I don't know what you are talking about. What are you doing here and interrupting a meeting between the higher-ups in the Kyuubi container? Size, just do it, Naruto. He won't admit a thing and even if he did, he would say he did it for the good of the village, no matter how bad the way was, Tsunade orders him. Naruto didn't have the option to kill or maim him, but he got in a good punch on his chin, sending him flying a bit. While he was on the ground, no good against a when he couldn't even mold chakra within his body, Naruto opened the stasis sealing scroll and placed it on his body and applied some chakra, sealed him in and kept the scroll with him. Now what will you do with him? I would have loved to smash his face in the wall for a bit and kill him slowly, but I can't do that. I will be keeping the scroll on me all the time and if a time comes when Sasuke wants revenge on Konoha, I will give him the option to kill Danzo and be done with it, Naruto informs her. When are you injecting grandfather's blood? She asks him. Right now. I don't have anything to do other than missions. Now that I think of it, I do have to complete the Rasengan. Tusan and Iro-Senin both mentioned it being an incomplete jutsu. But I will do it later, Naruto informs her and then takes out the vial with the Shodai Hokage's blood in it. Taking an injection from Tsunade and filling it completely with his blood, he pulls up his t-shirt a bit and injects the needle into his upper arm. Releasing his blood into his body and taking out the needle, he puts it down only for his body to be covered in one tail of the Kyuubi's chakra. Tsunade gets up from her chair in worry. "Naruto, what's happening?" she shouts, seeing the Kyuubi's chakra form around his body, his eyes becoming red and a chakra tail forming behind his body. "Why are you shouting?" "I am not completely mad here, I have my senses with me at 3 tails worth of his chakra," he tells her calmly. Tsunade sat down a bit embarrassed about what she did during the panic. "Boy Kyuubi. Why am I drawing onto your chakra right now?" he asks the 9 tails. "You can consider Hashirama's chakra and mine as opposites. As soon as you introduced his blood to your body, my chakra acted on its own to try and stop it. This is what I meant earlier when I said you wouldn't die from the process of injecting Hashirama's blood," he explains the reason for it to Naruto. "Okay, how long will it take for it to be complete? I can't be in this state and walk around the village." "It would take about a week or so for his blood cells to completely subjugate my chakra that is inside you and to merge his blood and DNA with yours." "Well, Ba-chan, the Kyuubi told me that the whole thing should be complete in a week or so. I am going home and would train there if I am able to, otherwise I would just sit or relax." "Alright, but if you are having a fever or some problems, then don't forget to summon Kitsayu for help or to inform me." Naruto nods and gives her a salute while leaving her office, vanishing in a yellow flash to his house to pass the rest of the time. 7 days later. Naruto couldn't do anything productive during the past 7 days. With changes taking place in his entire body, he couldn't perform any ninjutsu or do some running exercises, as it would heat up his body. So the week was spent reading different books. He had never learned a thing about Uzushi Ogakure during his training trip, so some time was spent on reading its history as well. Right now he was walking towards the Hokage office as she wanted to see him. He walks in after opening her office's door to see Shizune in there as well, shuffling through some paperwork. "Yo Ba-chan. You called me here?" "Yes, I wanted to give you a mission to go on," she tells him while signing some of the papers on her desk. "Do you think it is wise to allow me to go on a mission at this point?" he asks her while Shizune was a bit confused by it but left it to them. "You did tell me in a week you would be fine and it's just a simple mission. You have to go to Kiri and give the Mizukage this scroll, which contains the details for a possible treaty," she states, while handing him a scroll which stores it in the seal present on his shirt. "Hiro Sennin told me about the civil war going on in and that the rebel side won during the last year of my training. You are well informed about the situation, but that would be expected as you did train with a spy master. Yes, the rebels won the war against the ones who wanted to kill all the bloodline users. So who is the new Mizukage there that we have an alliance treaty for?" "Mei Terumi, she was the leader of the rebels and has 2 Kikage in case lava release and boil release. With her as the new Mizukage, maybe we will get an alliance with Kurigakure, making only Iwagakure and Kumagakure possible threats for us in the future," she informs him. "She has 2 Kekei Genkai, damn, talk about being born privileged. Anyways, who am I to question the possibility of being born with 2 Kekei Genkais? When do I leave?" he asks her. She was going to answer his question when the door behind him opened, revealing Konohamaru, Mogi, and Yuden. "Team Ibisu reporting for duty." They all shout together. "Tuckles, you need your sensei Ibisu with you if you are to go on missions with you 3. Wait for him to come here," Naruto says while remembering how he had been excited like them after graduation to do missions. "Naruto Nai-chan, he is down with a fever and won't leave the hospital for the week. Hokage-sama called us here for a mission," Yuden tells him. Naruto had an idea forming in his head as to why they were called here without their sensei and slowly turned towards Tsunade to see both her and Shizune trying to control their laughter. Whispers, "Oh, you have got to be shitting me, I am supposed to babysit on this mission," he said low enough for only them to hear as they started chuckling. Clears her throat. "Well Naruto, you are to be their temporary sensei for this mission," she states as a chorus of yes. Is heard in the room. It is a simple mission to deliver the scroll, but since it is so important, this is an S-rank mission for you and your temporary team. Woohoo. An S-rank mission with Naruto Nai-chan. Today's the best day, Konohamaru exclaims. "Size, I don't have any choice in this, do I?" he asks her only to receive a smirk with a shake of her head. "Fine. Listen to you 3, go and prepare for a 10-day trip or so and meet me at the village gates in half an hour." He orders them and watches as they hurriedly leave to prepare for the mission. It would have been a simple C-rank mission if not for the importance of delivering the scroll to the Mizukage, Naruto. You shouldn't have any serious threat on the mission except for a few bandits here or there. Yeah, but I could have delivered the scroll alone as well. It would have been way faster if I just ran at my top speed, he says. Meh, you have known these kids since you were 12 and they love you as well. I know you would do anything to protect them. They haven't been genin for so long, at most 3 months or so. Fine. I will go with them on this mission. At least it is not some random kid who I don't know at all, he utters and leaves to reach the village gate and wait for them. Around 25 minutes, he could see 3 heads running towards the gate while he was sitting on the branch of a tree. Ha! Naruto Nai-chan told us to get here in 30 minutes, but he is still not here. I think he has got Kakashi-sensei's tardiness, Konohamaru exclaims while panting slightly as he ran full speed in the excitement of the S-rank mission and going outside the village with Naruto. Naruto jumps from the branch of the tree behind them and hits him on the top of his head lightly. I have been waiting here for the 3 of you for the past 30 minutes. And for the mission, call me Naruto-sensei or sensei from now on, he informs the 3 of them. Yuta notices that he isn't carrying a bag like the rest of them for the mission. Naruto-sensei, why aren't you carrying a bag with your supplies in it like the rest of us? Mogi and Konohamaru also notice it as he mentions it. I am a master, only one except for Jiraiya-sensei and Konoha. I have all my necessary items like clothes, food, water, money, etc. sealed in a storage seal that I made for myself. I have it on my shirt right now so that I can unseal it any time necessary, he tells them, and unseals his black cloak and katana for them to see how it works. Fastening his katana with a hanging cord to his waist and wearing the black cloak that goes down to his knees, he takes out 3 normal sealing scrolls for them. Take this and store your bags in this. It would ease your burden and help you travel faster. Place your bags after opening the scroll and apply some chakra to seal it and apply some chakra to unseal it, he says, and does one for Konohamaru while the rest of them are awed by it. But then sensei, where are yours and shurikens, and why are you wearing such a long cloak hiding your sword and body? Wouldn't it be easier for you to take it out and use it without the cloak? Mogi asks him. I carry my special hand in these seals that I made and applied on my wrists. They are currently invisible, but when I focus my chakra on it and depending on which wrist I did, I can unseal them. As for the cloak, it hides my body and katana completely as I have the sword behind me held near the waist. It helps in providing an element of surprise for my enemy, he answers her question. Alright team, we are heading in the direction of the land of waves. Believe it or not, my first mission outside the village also took me there. We will try to reach there by evening and then stop to rest for the day. Just like that, they started running east, in the direction of the land of waves. He was running at moderate speed with them, stopping occasionally for rest and to drink water or in the afternoon to eat lunch. Around 4 in the evening afternoon, they had reached the bridge that connected the land of waves to the land of fire. The Great Naruto Bridge was written in big capital and bold letters on top of it. Wow. You have a bridge named after you sensei. Konohamaru exclaims. I did have a big hand in kind of igniting the fighting spirit of the people of Wave, but it was a team effort, except Sakura who did absolutely nothing. It was Kakashi-sensei who killed an A-rank missing ninja, but I had no idea that they named the bridge after me, Naruto says. He honestly did not expect his name on the bridge. Come on, let's go. I know someone who can give us a place to stay for the day. He said and started walking towards Tazuna's house while they were following him. Naruto noticed the changes that had taken place after nearly 4 years of freedom from Gato and his men. Knocking on the door of his house, he heard footsteps approaching and saw Tsunami open the door. Hello, Tsunami-san. Long time no see, he greets her as he takes out his right hand from underneath his cloak to give a wave with a small smile on his face. Tsunami stared at his face for a few seconds to try and recognize him. Naruto-kun. You have grown so much. Please come in. She invites them inside the house as they sit on the sofa that wasn't there before. I have a mission to go with my team here to Kiri and I thought if we could stay here for the rest of the day. That wouldn't be a problem, would it? He asks her. Not at all. After what you and your team have done for us and the Wave Country, it would be our pleasure to guest you for the night. Thank you. We will take a ship from here tomorrow and go to Kiri for our mission. It is nice that you came to stay here rather than at any hotel, it makes me happy that you didn't forget us, she tells him. By the way, this is my temporary team. From left to right, Mogi, Konohamaru and Yuden, he tells as the 3 of them bow their heads and thank her for allowing them to stay there for the night. I don't see Tazuna or Inari anywhere, where are they? Dad's gone to a meeting between some of the village men who have been looking after the country since your team freed us from Gato's reign. Inari is generally outside this time to play with his friends, she informs him. Well, I will meet them later. If you wouldn't mind, I may as well train these 3 a bit in the meantime, he says and motions for his team to follow him. Stepping out of the house and into the nearby woods, he goes to the tree which has the kunai marks he made all those years ago, some of the marks still visible. Alright, here is what you have to do. You have to apply chakra to the bottom of your feet and walk up the tree, he tells them, and does it once for them to see how to do it. 3 hours had passed with all the 3 trying to get to the top of their respective tree. They weren't successful in reaching there with Mogi being the closest to the top. That's enough for now, we will head back to rest. We have to take a ship to the land of mist tomorrow. Naruto stops them from continuing. But Naruto-sensei, I haven't gotten to the top. Mogi is better than me at this, Konohamaru whines about it. Which is fine, it took me and Sasuke 3 days to complete the tree walking exercise as we had greater chakra reserves, making it difficult to control it, while Mogi like Sakura has lower chakra reserves and is better able to do it, he explains to the three of them. Can you tell us how it would help us, this tree walking? Yuden asks him while Konohamaru also wanted to know if it had any uses or not. It helps in building your chakra control, which helps one sufficiently control their chakra and not overuse it. Seriously, what are they teaching you in the academy these days? Boring history stuff, basics of being a ninja and the theory of chakra and stuff. They don't teach us any jutsus besides the Shinobi 3, Konohamaru tells him. Naruto shakes his head a bit at the information. It hadn't changed from his time, not that he listened much to it. And what has your sensei, Ibisu, taught you till now? We passed the academy and graduated 4 months ago. He doesn't train us for long hours and whenever he does, we do teamwork exercises with D-rank missions here and there, Mogi informs him. Size well, now you have a basic idea of it and one of the chakra control exercises. Whenever you get the time on this mission, keep practicing it. I want all 3 of you to be done with it by the end of the mission, he tells them and leaves for Tezuna's house with the 3 following him. Walking in, he sees Tezuna and Inari talking about something amongst them while Tsunami was cooking dinner for them. He makes a shadow clone that goes on to see and help her in any way possible while he walks up to the 2. Inari notices them first and runs to him and hugs him near the waist. Naruto Nai-san. I have been waiting for you since Kacchan mentioned you, he exclaimed while Naruto smiles and ruffles the top of his hair. It's good to see you as well, Inari. You haven't been giving any trouble to your mother and grandfather, have you? He asks him and receives a shake of his head. Good, these are my 3 students for this mission, Mogi, Konohamaru, and Yuden. Why don't you take them upstairs and tell them about my last visit or something like that? Inari nods quickly and motions them to follow him to tell them about his mission. You look rather good, Naruto. It is fine, life is going on. How are you still drinking at your age? Because I have had to reduce the amount of alcohol I take because of the new responsibilities that came up after Gato's reign ended, he tells Naruto. Well, that is good, you have something to keep yourself busy with now that the bridge is done. Yeah, that's true. So how is your team doing? Kakashi-san, Sakura and Sasuke. He asks him. Kakashi-sensei is just there. Doing missions and reading the book he always reads. Sakura has been trained under the 5th Hokage, Senju Tsunade, and is her apprentice. That is good for her, the last time she was shaking while protecting me while the rest of your team fought. I didn't have much confidence in her protection. Well, she has grown as everyone else. She is one of the best medical ninjas in our village. I can't deny that fact, I saw it myself in Suna. And Sasuke, well, he left our village 3 years ago or something, he mentions. Tezuna was a bit shocked hearing it. Why would he leave the village? He was a decent kid with some competition with you as much as I could tell. Yeah, he didn't like that I was growing stronger than him all the while he hadn't progressed much. So in the search for more power, he became a traitor to the village, he told him, keeping the reason for it and some other important details to himself. Okay, enough talk. Dinner's ready. Children, come dine to eat dinner. She shouts the last part to call them down as they all sit down to eat the food. Eating the delicious food and thanking her for it, they went to their room to sleep with Mogi sleeping in Tsunami's room and Konohamaru sleeping with Yuden. Naruto was in a room alone. He opened the window of his room and stepped out. Closing it, he jumped down and went to a clearing in the woods. I should have asked Bachan for some scrolls on Mokuton Jutsus that the Shodai Hokage might have left. What to do? I can try and see where my Rasengan is now that I injected his blood in my body. Opening his right hand palm so that it faces skyward, he forces chakra on his hand and uses shape transformation to control the form and size of his jutsu. He had created a one-handed Rasengan instantly many times during his training. He notices a blue sphere take place as it generally does, but in the next second its size was increasing, making his control on it drop and explode in his hands. What was that? It generally works upon applying the amount of chakra I did. Then why did its size increase suddenly? Naruto tries to think of a reason. That's because Hashirama's cells have merged with yours completely and easily because of your Uzumaki genes. That has increased your chakra control a lot, along with allowing you to use wood-style jutsus. But that would mean that I would have to do all the chakra control exercises and practice every one of my jutsus again. Ugh. Don't whine so much, brat. As a reason for my chakra being suppressed by his now your cells and blood, you can now perform Iryonin jutsu and which you couldn't earlier. Meh, I don't care much about it, although I could learn basic Iryonin jutsu. Not on the level of Sakura, but enough to treat wounds and exhaustion of others. I don't want to know how to treat broken bones and such. Size, let's try the Rasengan again and then maybe try and increase its size and power. Naruto controlled the amount of chakra required to form it this time, reducing it by a bit. Seeing a perfect blue sphere in his hands, he maintains it for a minute to see if he has any problem with it. After that, he powers more chakra into it, increasing the density and volume of chakra he outputs. Its size grew proportionately as if its radius was increased, but the next second it exploded in his hands. He watches in fascination as the burnt marks on his hands heal quickly, probably another advantage of his new blood properties. He did have his blood and his parents' genes within him, but because of the Kyuubi, it was like the Shodai's blood cells were also a part of his blood system, giving his body composition and abilities like his. Trying it again as he increases the chakra in his Rasengan, this time he remembers the basics of the jutsu and adds more rotational power to it while containing it. He watches in fascination as the size of the jutsu grew more that of an average ball to the size of a football, It's just the Adama Rasengan and Chao Adama Rasengan. He was able to maintain it for a while. Woo. I am able to increase the size of Rasengan and there might even be a bigger size than this. I will keep performing this for a while and then increase its size more, he muses and decides to return to the house and sleep. Walking up to his room's window, he opens it and goes to bed. Waking up the next morning, he and his team had breakfast with Tazuna's family. Thanking the trio for allowing them to stay in their house, he leaves with his team to the seaport in search of a ship to the land of water. Finding one at a reasonable price, he steps aboard it with the 3 genins, set for a 4-day trip on the water. 4 days later. The last 4 days were, well, rather boring for all of them with nothing to do other than talk to each other or watch the open sea. Sometimes they would ask him questions about his first mission after hearing Inari's side of it. He wasn't able to train them or practice his different jutsus or chakra control himself. Thanking the sailor for bringing them here and paying him, he set foot on the land in quite a while. They were walking on one of the lands in the land of water and realized why the village is called the village hidden in the mist. The whole area was covered in a thick mist with barely anything visible in the distance. They had an idea of the direction of the village from the history books and maps and started walking in the general direction. They were able to see a few feet around them, allowing the 3 genins to make a diamond formation with Naruto in front and follow him. They had been walking at a steady pace for the past 30 minutes with the kids not speaking anything, just looking around to get hold of something in their view. It was their first time outside the village and inside any other village, as Naruto had been to Suna. Naruto stopped suddenly sensing people ahead of them and with a motion of his hand stopped them as well. Focusing his sensory skills on them, he was able to sense around 50 different emotions, allowing him to confirm their number. "Who are you and what is your business here?" one of them asked. Naruto didn't know who they were, they could be Kiri Shinobis as well, although he doubted 50 of them would be here, but decided to answer anyway. "We are from Konoha. We are here to give an alliance treaty scroll to the Mizukage from our Hokage," he tells them and hears them laugh at his response. "So Konoha's dogs have come here for a treaty with the slutty Mizukage. She should have died like a horse she is along with the other bloodline users," he hears someone from his right speak. Naruto quickly realized that they hated the bloodline users from the way they talked about it. He didn't want the 3 behind him to hear such things, especially Mogi about a woman. He unsealed his 3-pronged and rapidly threw 10 of them in their direction. A lot of them were in different groups all around them as he threw the whispers. "Keep a lookout and watch each other's back if one of them attacks," he orders them as he reaches for his katana inside his cloak. Grabbing its handle with his right hand, he senses one of them coming forward to attack them. He vanishes in a yellow flash for the genins as he takes out his katana and charges Futon chakra into its blade, increasing its sharpness and piercing ability. Teleporting around the various Hiraishin, he slashes and swings it diagonally to cut them or makes a horizontal movement to separate their head from their shoulders. Someone who spoke or thought of women like that deserved no less. Killing the last one of them, he takes a deep breath and washes the blood off the blade of his katana by using a small Suiton jutsu on it. Swinging it a bit, he sheathes it back in its scabbard and then walks up to the 3 genins while making a shadow clone to collect his Hiraishin. "Are you 3 all right?" he asks them. They give a shake of their head, a bit shaken by being surrounded by so many shinobis. "Okay, here is what we will do. We don't know if more of the ninjas will come for us. You 3 hug me tightly and you might feel a bit dizzy after it is done," he tells them as they follow his instruction while he collects them from his clone, sealing them all except one. He throws it in the forward direction and teleports to it after some seconds. The 3 of them leave their hold off him and sit on the ground to find their balance while he stores the last kunai. "What the hell was that?" Konohamaru says, a bit disoriented by the experience. That right, there was a space-time ninjutsu created by the Nidaime Hokage and upgraded by the Yondaime Hokage. Someday you will also be able to do it, maybe. Looking forward, he was able to spot the village with several mountains in the background. "Alright guys, the village is in front of us, get up." They start walking towards the village gates while the three genins are busy looking and admiring the view. Naruto was relieved that for the time being their focus was shifted from the shinobis they had come across. "Wait here. State your purpose of entering the village," one of the two gate guards asked the group. "Size, we are from Konoha. Jonin Uzumaki Namik is Naruto with three genins of Konoha. We are here on a diplomatic mission with a Mizukage on the order of our Hokage," he tells them and takes out the papers with Hokage's signature on them for an official record and shows it to them. "Thank you for confirming. Please enter and have a nice stay here. If you walk straight from here you should see the Mizukage's office being the widest and largest," he informs them and bows his head with the other doing the same. As they both watch them leave for the Mizukage's tower, guard number 1 turns to 2. "Did you hear his name? He introduced himself as Uzumaki Namikaze." "You did as well, I thought I misheard him. It means his father is the Yellow Flash of Konoha. Do you reckon he knows the jutsu that made him famous?" "Of course he does, at least according to me. The Yondaime Hokage had killed 1,000 Iwa shinobis with that single jutsu back during the ninja war. I hope that whatever diplomatic mission he has come here goes well for Kiri, otherwise I don't know anyone who has been able to find a counter for the jutsu," one says to two as they return to their gate duty. Chapter 8. Kurigakure and Mizukage. The genin team along with their sensei were going to see the Mizukage while the three genins were looking around them and taking note of different things and buildings around them. It had taken them 10 minutes to reach the Mizukage's office, which was pretty easy to find. Walking to her office, they came across a secretary. "How may I help you?" she asks them. We have come from Konoha by the orders of the Hokage to give your Mizukage a scroll, so if you would be kind enough to let us in," Naruto speaks to her, while the three genins were a bit nervous and stayed quiet so as to create any problems. "Wait here for a bit. Let me inform her first," she tells them and walks into the room to tell her. The rest of them had to wait for a couple of minutes for her to return. "Go in, she is waiting for you." They walk into Mizukage's office and see 3 people already inside the room. They notice a kid, probably around Naruto's age with glasses on, a sword with bandages wrapped on it on his back, and a middle-aged man with one of his eyes covered by an eye patch. Sitting beside him was a very beautiful lady. She is a slender woman with fair skin. She has green eyes and ankle-length auburn hair with one of her hair bangs covering her right eye. "Mizukage-sama," Naruto says and bows his head in respect with his team following the same. The leader of the village looks on at the 3 genins of Konoha and then has a close and good look at the person beside them. He looked very handsome and dashing to her as she took in his appearance. He looked very beautiful with his blue eyes as deep as an ocean and blonde hair with red tips on the ends. He wore a black cloak which covered the clothes beneath it and also his body, though she did not doubt that he was well developed there. And the way he stood before her with the aura of calmness and confidence, no one would think that he was a visiting shinobi in her village. He wasn't nervous at all while being surrounded by foreign shinobis. She liked men who feared nothing and stayed strong and confident. My, Konoha has rather attractive men in their ranks. I wouldn't mind spending the rest of my life with you with someone as dreamy as you, but you do look rather young for me," Mei says the last part disheartened although she always enjoyed giving such compliments to confident men and seeing them blush and falter a bit. She got no reaction in return, just a straight face. Naruto stares at her for a second or two and then looks at the other 2 men in the room. "Odd as your secretary would have told you, we have come from Konoha to hand over to you a scroll regarding details about a possible treaty signed by the Yondaime Hokage, Senju Tsunade. I am Konoha Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, and these 3 are Mogi, An. It her surname, Yuden, same, and." He introduces himself and his team. He was going to introduce the last when he noticed Konohamaru having a blush on his face and staring at her. "It's him on the head, this here is Sarutobi Konohamaru, who is clearly not focusing on the right thing at the moment," he says as he warns him to try and do that again. "Tuckles, that is fine. I get those looks a lot from men, although some as handsome as you haven't looked at me like that. Namikaze was it? You must be the son of the Yondaime Hokage then," she says as a matter of fact. She was rather surprised that he had a son. Someone as fearful as him in the shinobi world and his son was hidden from the world. "That I am. Son of Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina," he says while both the men in the room tense a bit at it. Chijuro was sweating a bit on hearing his name as Naruto notices this. "Are you fine? You are sweating in this moderate temperature room." "I am fine, I have heard of his achievements and how he killed 1,000 shinobis alone, and I was just worried a bit knowing he has a son," Chijuro informs him. He was a nervous Nelly most of the time while talking to others. Where is your courage, Chijuro? Scared of a man who is dead? "I am older than you, but not that easily threatened by it," Ao says confidently to put his mind at ease. He doubted that the Yellow Flash's son knew his techniques. "Courage? scared of a man older than you. Mei thinks while interpreting some words related to her marriage. Back in our days, Ao continued lecturing Chijuro but was interrupted by the Mizukage. Ao, shut up or I will kill you, Mei whispers in his ears to stop him from continuing, but everyone in the room hears it. The color of his face drained as he got confused and decided to remain silent. The Genins were confused out of their minds as they couldn't understand anything of the situation and left it for their sensei to take care of it. That was fun, I guess. Anyways, here is the scroll she wanted you to see, he says and hands over the scroll with information on an alliance. She opens the scroll and reads over the terms for a minute. I will call a council meeting today in the afternoon and go over the terms for the alliance and our demands for the same to happen, Naruto-san. You can stay in one of the hotels in our village. We will provide you with our answer by tomorrow morning, she informs him. They bow once again to her and leave her office to book rooms in a hotel. Naruto pays for the rooms as they all unpack their stuff for the day. Alright you three listen up, we will get their reply scroll by tomorrow, so we should be leaving the village after we get their reply. We have one day in the village as they don't want random ninjas to stay for longer in their village and possibly learn about some things while sightseeing, not that I blame them. Now you three can roam the village and explore it, but stay together, he tells them, and receives a nod in return. What would you be doing all this while sensei? Yuden asks him. I am going to a training ground that I can find in the village somewhere secluded and do some practice. A shadow clone of mine will always be with you. Creating a shadow clone to be with them the entire time and dispel in case of some emergency, he leaves them to find a training ground. Wandering the village for about half an hour, he finds a place behind a small patch of forest and a lake nearby. He created around 100 shadow clones and ordered 50 of them to go and practice every kind of chakra control exercise that they knew of to improve his control on his transform chakra, while 30 of them practiced all the jutsus he knew, 10 each for his 3 chakra natures. He stepped onto the water and ordered the rest of his clones to attack him with anything while he fought them alone. Since his chakra reserves had considerably shot up and his chakra control was ruined after he injected the Shodai Hokage's blood into his body, he needed to practice and do everything again in order to reach the previous level he was on. This is what he had done all evening. His clones practiced advanced chakra control and performed different jutsus to not overpower them and waste chakra while doing jutsus. He had got a major chakra boost in his system, which made using some destructive jutsus a bit difficult, but he had it down by the end of his training. He fought with his clones on top of the water for hours as he refined his taijutsu and skills and lastly his ability to do ninjutsu. He was tired from the constant training he had done since the morning, so he sat down on the ground to breathe for a minute while he created more shadow clones to continue refining his skills for the day. While drying the sweat off his face and drinking water, he got an idea of what he had to learn next to increase his skills. Cutting his thumb to draw blood and going through hand signs, he calls out. Fuchius no Jutsu. He slams his right hand on the ground and summons Katsuyu. Lady Katsuyu, could you please ask Bachan to give me some scrolls on basic medical that might help in treating wounds and other scrolls which will help me in learning medical ninjutsu on a medium level, not on the level of Bachan or Sakura, and a scroll on Mokuton Jutsus if she has some of the jutsus written somewhere by the Shodai Hokage, he requests her and gets a nod of her head. As she disperses to get the things. He waits for some time and believing that it may take some minutes to find the requested scrolls, he starts forming an Adama Rasengan as he had practiced in Wave Country. He could easily maintain it for a long time and smashed it against one of the trees, breaking it in half. He then hears a puff of smoke behind him and turns to see Katsuyu spit out 5 scrolls out of her mouth. He couldn't tell how she fit so many scrolls in her mouth and he didn't want to know about it. It took some time for Shizune and Lady Tsunade to find them Naruto-kun, but here you are, these 4 scrolls have the basic and medium level of Iryo ninjutsu that she thinks you should be able to learn, while the brown one with the Senju clan seal has all the Mokuton jutsus of the first Hokage, she informs him. Naruto says a quick thank you and watches her disappear. He walks up to the scrolls and seals them all, as there was no way he had let an important scroll of the Senju clan lie in the open like that. He was going to take a break for now and then start with basic medical if he got some time to do so when he sensed something fast approaching him. He turns to his right and sees heading toward him. Reaching within his cloak and gripping the hilt of his katana with his right hand, he takes it out in a flash and deflects them all with its blade. Come out, come out. I know where you are hiding, don't tempt me to come and fetch you, Naruto states while he has his katana held in front of him as a precaution and waits for his attacker to come out of the bushes. He watches as Mei, the Mizukage comes out alone from behind a tree and is walking towards his position. He flicks his cloak in the air a bit with his hand and in a single motion, sheathes it back in its black leather scabbard hanging on his behind, near his waist. It would have been a shame if someone as handsome as you and with such a beautiful face wouldn't have any shinobi skills, but then it would be rather foolish of someone to think that the son of the Yondaime Hokage wouldn't be much of a challenge, Mei says as she walks near him. Well, you shouldn't doubt my skills, as I mentioned earlier that I am from my village, and that rank is given for a reason, and was tasked with delivering an important scroll, such as the one I brought here, Mizukage-sama, Naruto responds as she gives a small wave of her hand. Just call me Mei, I don't like these honorifics anyways. As you say, Mei-san. I did come across roughly 50 rough Kiri shinobis and had to kill them all. I can't have my first time as a sensei ruined. Although they look like they were not happy with you and your reign and their goal would have been to stop me and my team from coming here, Naruto informs her as he leans against a tree. It didn't sit well with many of the shinobis under the control of the last Mizukage that a woman was fighting against them and became the leader of the village. I got called various horrific things during our civil war as they thought that would disturb my morale, but as you see that didn't happen. That is very commendable of you, not many people would be able to hold their temper and be calm about the situation, but why have you come here? Surely not to throw at me and test my skills, he asks her, tired of her not getting on with the subject. Ah yes, we had a council meeting the entire afternoon and have come up with our reply and the things we expect in return from the alliance. You can collect the scroll tomorrow and if things go smoothly, then maybe I will have to visit Konoha and have some talks with your Hokage. It does make me happy that another woman is leading a nation alongside me, she tells him. Surely you could have sent any random shinobi to tell me that, no need for a cage to come here and inform me of such a small thing, he says and watches closely as she reduces the distance between them to a foot and traces her right index finger on his cheek and jawline. And miss seeing such a beautiful face for a long time, possibly the last time. You know you do look a lot like your father, except for these whisker marks and the red tips that you have in your blonde hair. Personally, I find it different and rather attractive, she says slowly and in a flirtatious tone to get some reaction from him, but with no success. Naruto shakes his head in exasperation and unseals a water bottle from God knows where and starts drinking it. Don't tell me you don't find me beautiful, even the kid on your team did and was ogling me for a minute. You are not a eunuch are you, oh you poor soul. That would be so sad, Mei says in humor and watches him spit the water out of his mouth and cough a few times. Why would you say something like that? I am no eunuch, as a matter of fact, I have had sex once and I am. Naruto sputters a bit and in an effort to defend himself, he tells her that he has had sex and embarrasses himself more. Mei has her hand in front of her mouth as she is giggling at his state. Naruto facepalms himself at his stupidity and tries to reverse the situations they are in. I am a foreign ninja performing my duty to the village, I can't stare or flirt with ladies who are in power in front of her ninjas and risk the possibility of ruining things for my village. He speaks and closes the distance between them as he rests his right hand on her waist and pulls her body close to his, pressing her breasts against his chest a bit and whispers in her ear, but I will tell you this, I do find you very pretty and stunning, probably one of the best women in those terms that I have seen, and you are brave as the cage of one of the 5 great villages. The closeness between their faces, his hand holding her waist firmly and his warm breath running through her ears, sends a chill down her spine as she is red in her cheeks from all his actions. She couldn't believe how quickly he had gone from sprouting nonsense and being embarrassed to bring her into this state. She had come here to tease him a bit and get him blushing, but where she had failed, he had succeeded. It was the first time some man hadn't been staring at her body, nor was he unsettled by her flirtatious stalking. She watches as he leans his face back from her ear and stares at her for a moment. He moves his left hand up and removes a bit of her auburn-colored hair from her face and then places it on her left cheek and slowly starts leaning in towards her lips. Mei has her heart beating at a fast pace as she closes her hands in anticipation of the kiss and extends her lips a bit for the same. She had a million thoughts racing through her mind. She was excited about it as well as nervous because it would be the first time in her life that she had been kissed by someone, not to mention by the Konoha shinobi in front of him, who looked nothing less than a god. As she waited and waited, she realized that no one was holding her anymore and opened her eyes to see Naruto leaning against a tree with his arms crossed and with a smirk on his face. Mei has her mouth agape at the current predicament she is in. Oh how dare he? He has the audacity to do all that, even make me blush and make my heart go thumping at a faster pace, and then he pulls back. I can't believe I am saying this, but I was waiting anxiously for the kiss to happen, and he goes to stand against a tree with that smile plastered on his face. Now that you have made me feel like this and tried to kiss me, I will not back down without kissing with you. Naruto-kun sings his name in her mind. Mei fumes about the state she is in as she stares at him, making different faces through her thoughts. Snaps his fingers in her face. Are you alright? You have been staring at me for the past minute and making weird faces, he asks her, worrying that he took it a bit too far. Mei is broken out of her daydreaming as she faces him and grabs his collar, making him sweat a bit. Yes, young man. Generally, I am the one who makes men tremble and uneasy when talking to them. But for the first time in my life, I was on the receiving end of what it feels like to be all blushing and shy. And then you had the valor to kiss me, not that I am against it, but then after me waiting in anticipation, you didn't even kiss me, she says in an angry irritated tone, and leaves his collar to cross her arms beneath her breasts, and looks away. I guess I took it too far, huh? Please forgive me for my recklessness if you can, Naruto speaks as he rubs the back of his head in embarrassment. Mei looks at him for a second and in an instant, finds his actions cute and steals her heart to not melt so suddenly after having him apologize to her. It's fine. I am not angry or something with you, but I am very upset that you didn't kiss me. HMPH, I can't believe I was waiting for it to happen, she tells him, who has no response to her statement. She just told him that she wanted to kiss him, what was he supposed to do, make out with her on the spot, not that he would mind, but it would be a bit weird. Mei continues, but you deserve some beating for making me all giddy inside and then standing afar, watching me like that with a face. As soon as she had said her sentence, she raised her left leg and tried to hit him on the side of his face. Naruto was caught off guard, not expecting the situation to turn from a flirtatious kind of one into her attacking him. He was barely able to block her attack as he raised both of his hands and blocked her kick with them. Mei expected such a quick response from him as she places her right foot on his chest and uses it as a springboard to backflip while exerting force on his body to send him tumbling for a second as he rolls once on his back. Naruto gets up from the ground and dusts the dirt from his cloak using his hands and has a small smile on his face while looking at Mei. You know, I think I do deserve some kind of punishment for my actions. But I will warn you, I won't be on the ground again like that, you just caught me off guard. I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Naruto-kun. Otherwise, it would be a bit disappointing, Mei says, and rushes forward for a hand-to-hand fight. She goes forward for a right-hand jab aimed at his head, but Naruto blocks it with the palm of his left hand and goes in for a punch at her hand with his right hand. She saw the fist coming at her and moves her head sideways so that she can dodge it but doesn't expect his next move. The punch was never for her as he suddenly changes the trajectory of his fist and hits the ground. Mei was shocked by his actions and by the time she realized that it was a diversion, it was too late. Naruto sweeps her legs by using his right leg causing her to lose her balance and then hits her in the stomach forcefully with his other leg and sends her into a tree. She hadn't expected him to use such a move. First, he feinted with his punch and using that distraction, he swiped one of his legs to disbalance her and she was in the air for a moment. He used that time to quickly bring his other leg and hit her hard in the stomach, sending her back first into the tree. All of his moves happened in a matter of seconds and she was on the ground near the tree, a bit of blood coming from the corner of her mouth. Naruto immediately rushed to her side and bent near to support her. He had just hit the Mizukage, a leader of a shinobi village. He had just hoped that she would forgive him and no other person in the village saw the both of them. He was brought to his thoughts with Mei chuckling as she stood up with an arm against her stomach and back against the tree for support. You hit pretty hard, Mei says in between pants and groans. It hurt her a lot in saying much as she got a pretty solid kick in the stomach. I am sorry. You suddenly attacked me and I got in the mood for it and at that moment, I hit you with a hefty blow. Please forgive me, Naruto says as he didn't want her to be upset or something which may cause tensions to rise between the villages. Although he wouldn't say it, he had come to like talking to her and her teasing and didn't want to ruin a probable friendship. Mei laughs lightly, hearing him scared from hitting like that. But the whole thing also allowed her to maybe try and get what she wanted. She moves forward and falls onto Naruto who catches her quickly as he couldn't allow her to fall and get more hurt. Mei places her hands on his chest as he has his hands wrapped around her waist. I can't just forgive you, you will have to do something for me, Naruto-kun, she speaks in a singing voice and leans back from his chest to look at him. Naruto doesn't let go of her body as he liked being in that position, not that he would say it aloud. It's not his fault that she wasn't protesting against it. Understanding what she wanted him to do after a few seconds, he smiles slightly and uses his right hand thumb and wipes the blood coming from the corner of her lips and then caresses her cheek. Mei leans into the soft and caring touch of his hands as she closes her eyes and finds it comforting. Although she had hinted to Naruto to do so, she hadn't expected him to do so suddenly. Naruto leans his head down to her level and kisses her lips gently. Mei was in bliss from a single kiss, she had some expectations from it, but she didn't think it would be this good. Naruto uses his left hand and pulls her closer to his chest, deepening the kiss. She follows his action and puts her hands on the back of his neck, pulling him closer. They separate after a couple of minutes with Mei breathing heavily and red faces from the intimacy. She was overjoyed by how good it felt to her, how his lips tasted and how soft they were on her lips. She was going to say something about it but was cut off from Naruto by another kiss. This time he bit on her lower lip while kissing her, making her open her mouth a bit. He used that window of opportunity to slip his tongue into her mouth. Not wanting to be left behind, she brought her tongue forward to meet his. This continued for more minutes with both of them using their tongue and moving their lips to make out on a training ground. She pulls back after a while to catch her breath with a major blush on her cheeks as she looks at Naruto, who had a small smile on his face. That was amazing. I didn't expect my first kiss to be so good. I will probably remember and cherish this moment for the rest of my life, Mei tells him, the joy could be heard in her voice. Naruto chuckles for a couple of seconds and gives a brief kiss on her lips. I am happy that you will remember me for the rest of your life. I enjoyed it as well, you were not bad for someone who has had their first kiss, he says, and with a sigh, removes his hands from her waist and walks back a bit. Mei was dejected by the feeling of warmth being lost, but accepted it. If you could make me so happy with a kiss, I wonder what else you could have done for me if you were my lover. Sighs sadly, that can't happen though, can it? She asks him, knowing the answer herself, but in hopes of hearing something different from him. But she got her answer when he shook his head. Sadly, no. We are both from different villages and cannot just leave one village to join the other. You are a leader of one of the 5 great nations and have responsibilities towards it, while I am a member of my village. That would have been fine if not for my father being the Yondaime Hokage. A lot is expected from me now, many villagers see me as the second coming of the Yellow Flash. I don't like it being compared and judged with my father, but I cannot change the opinion of the whole village, he gives a long-ass explanation to her. We cannot change anything from where we were born to our parents, but I do feel rather sad when I think of all the possibilities of being in a relationship with you. It would have been exciting, although you must have someone who you love back in your village, she asks him, curious to see if he has a lover or anything like that. No. Trust me when I say this, all of the girls around my age do not fit with my personality that well. I have been judging most of them since we were 13, but they haven't done anything to show me they have changed their personality. There is Sakura, I used to have a crush on her but got over it and she loves an Uchiha, Sasuke Uchiha. And by love I mean loves him. She used to stalk him everywhere during our academy days, he tells her and hears her giggle at Sakura's obsession with Sasuke. She has improved in her shinobi skills a lot and I have to give her credit for that, but that growth in age and skill hasn't changed her mentality and obsessiveness in regards to him. Then there is Ino, she was also obsessed with Sasuke, now I don't know much about her. I haven't had the time or need to talk with her, and the same goes with a girl Tenten. But Hinata, she has a crush on me, he says and looks at her. Mei was looking at him curiously. If she has a crush on you then why aren't you going out with her or something? You wouldn't kiss me while having a girlfriend, now would you? She asks him sternly and watches him falter in his step a bit and wave his hands nervously in front of her. No. No gods no, I wouldn't do that, cheat on a girl like that, he informs her and watches her nod with a smile. Anyways, she is lovely and beautiful, I can't deny that, but I don't know why, but she is so shy in front of me that she wouldn't talk to me. When I am near her, she will just watch me with a blush on her face and play with her index fingers, and if I get too close to her, she will just faint. I don't know if she will even live if I kiss her. You know, if she changes her personality a bit, becomes confident enough to speak to me and properly talk to me and changes a few more things, I don't see why I wouldn't date her to at least give it a try. Continues, you, on the other hand, are beautiful and stunning and have many qualities of a strong and independent woman and the perfect person I would like to have a relationship with and maybe marry sometime, he tells her and smiles at her. Mei was touched by him saying all of that as she had also thought of him as the best man for him. Don't say that. You are making me sadder just by the thought that love isn't an option between us. Although you do deserve a reward for that sweet comment, and uses both her hands to make his face look in her direction, stands at the tip of her feet and kisses him deeply for some seconds. Exhales heavily. Well, I had a fun time with you, both talking and kissing you. But I do have 3 kids to look after in a foreign village, so I will take your leave, Naruto tells her and uses his left hand to make a hand sign and disperse the clones he had made to practice all the while he did fuck all, and then shunshuns out of the ground to the hotel he would be resting for the night. Mei stands there alone for minutes, thinking of all the things she had done this evening. She hadn't had such fun and excitement in all these years of her life. Growing up in the village named Blood Mist Village and then surviving and fighting in a civil war for many years hadn't brought much joy to her life. Even after becoming the Mizukage, she had been busy doing paperwork, looking after the village, and trying to improve the image of the village as a whole. For the first time in her life, she had fun just talking, teasing, or fighting a bit with him. To top it all off, the kiss had been perfect for her and an experience she would never forget till her last breath. Next morning. Naruto and his temporary team had got up early as they were to leave the village and return to Konoha with an important scroll in terms of politics. Getting ready to collect it from whoever gave it to them, Naruto left his hotel without wearing his black cloak. Without it, his developed body with chiseled arms and legs. He was wearing a full-sleeved black shirt with a white patch on it near the wrists. Below that he wore white shinobi pants and black boots for a unique look. On top of all of that was a blue sleeveless coat that was open and reached his ankles, completing his look. The most important things for him to wear were the necklace that Tsunade gave to him, which belonged to the Shodai Hokage, and the silver pendant that had his parents' picture on it. He had sealed his sword as he didn't want it on his back during travel. Arriving at the village gates, he saw the Mizukage, Terumi Mei herself there along with the two others, Ao and Chijuro. He walked up with his team to them and greeted them. Mizukage-san, Ao-san and Chijuro-san. Why are you here so early this morning? He asks them and watches as Mei comes up to him and removes a scroll from her clothes and hands it to him. I did tell you that you will get our response to the Hokage's request by the morning, but did I mention who will give it to you? She says and gives a discreet wink to Naruto. He simply smiles at her and accepts the scroll. He seals it for travel and gives a short bow to them. Thank you for receiving us and allowing us to stay in the village. I hope our villages come on terms with each other and form an alliance. Allow us to leave, he says and ushers his team out of the gate and heads them in the direction of the seaport to find a ship for travel. At least he has manners and respects his seniors, though I do not see someone so young as him being strong. He is what, 16 years old? I have more experience of the world than he has lived in the world, Ao says, deep down still wary of the Namikaze name as he was young when he was told of the Yellow's flash achievement. You can think whatever you want to, but I see a man who walks confidently and has an aura of authority around him. He doesn't want to show it, but if it comes to fighting an enemy he can hit pretty hard, Mei tells him and rubs her stomach on the last part as it still stung a bit from his kick. They start walking away from the village gates to do their work for the day. Do you think we will be seeing him again in the future? I got a brief glimpse of his katana yesterday and wanted to have a spar with him, Chijuro says. He was one of the 7 swordsmen of Kiri and wouldn't mind having some practice sessions with him. Maybe, who knows what the future holds for now, Mei says uncertainly. She didn't know the answer to the questions herself. 3 hours later. It had been some hours after they had left the village. They had gone to the port and found a ship that would take them to Wave Country. Money was no problem for Naruto as he had done many A-rank missions and some S-rank ones, and with all the inheritance of his parents, he wouldn't have any problems with it. Right now he was on the deck of the ship, staring at the sea with his hands folded on the railing as the wind swayed his blonde with red-dyed hair. The waves of ocean water hit the ship below rhythmically as he thought about what he had to do next when he returned to the village. What are you doing here, Naruto-sensei? Konohamaru's question brought him out of his thoughts as he turned to his right to see the 3 genins there. Nothing much, just looking out and thinking about some stuff. What are you guys doing here? He asks them. I brought them here because I wanted to ask you to teach us some cool jutsus and stuff that will help me beat everyone, Konohamaru exclaims while Yuden and Mogi nod with him. What do you think that I taught you tree walking just like that? No, as I said earlier, it would increase your control over your chakra, making it easier to learn and perform jutsus. You 3 have had only 1 day of practice in the land of waves on the technique. Once we reach Konoha, practice it more and perfect it, and then maybe I will teach each one of you something unique, he tells them, and watches as they shout in joy on hearing him say that. He smiles happily looking at the 3 kids in front of him like this. I was once like them when I was 12 to 13 years old. I did not have much care for the world when it came to learning jutsus. But I had to grow up with a tailed beast sealed into me and a group of S-rank shinobis after me. I just wish that you 3 can be this cheerful like now all the time. That is just wishful thinking however, as everyone matures when they age, just enjoy this time to the fullest. Naruto ponders and goes back to looking at nothing in particular in the ocean. 5 days later. It had taken them 4 days to travel from the land of mist to the wave country by ship and then a day of running to return to Konoha. After getting checked in at the village gates they were now on their way to the Hokage's office to report the success of the mission. Knocking on the office door and going inside, they see Tsunade looking over some of the papers and Sakura standing by her side. Naruto unseals the scroll given to him by the Mizukage and places it on her desk. Jonin Namikaze Uzumaki. Naruto returning from a successful mission with his temporary team Konohamaru, Mogi, and Yuden Hokage-sama, Naruto says professionally with the 3 genins standing by his side. I can never picture you being so respectful, Brad, just stop it. It feels really weird after being called Bachan by you all the time, Tsunade tells him and picks the scroll to look over it. Smirks. Oh, don't worry about that. I will still call you Bachan, that won't change ever, he replies cheekily and looks at her. Tsunade has a look of irritation on her face and then looks back at him. Nonetheless, well done you 4. I will have to call a council meeting and discuss it with them, Tsunade tells them. But aren't you the Hokage, so can you not just look over it yourself and get it done with, Mogi asks her. Yes I am, but if I do that then I will have to hear the crying of the civilian council and 2 elders. Also, some council members like Narashikaku can give me good advice on some of the matters, so there is that. Now all of you out, I need time to prepare for the meeting, she says. The 3 genins left the room and Sakura looked like she wanted to talk to Naruto but left after some hesitation. Naruto just stood there, waiting for them to leave, and then asked her. So Ba-chan, it has been 2 or more weeks since Danzo disappeared when I sealed him in a scroll. Isn't anyone questioning you about his whereabouts, like the 2 other elders, or what about his root agents? As you know, Jiraiya already knew that Danzo had a hand in the Uchiha clan massacre and implanted grandfather's cells in Uchiha clan members' eyes in his right arm. So I consulted him and we decided to tell some of our top shinobis about that, she tells him and watches as he opens his mouth to speak but raises her hand to shut him. Don't worry, I haven't told anyone about the attempt of the Uchiha clan in overthrowing the Hokage or that Itachi is a spy for the village. Only me, you and Jiraiya know that. And some of Danzo's deeds have been told to Kakashi, Shikaku, Tenzo, and a few others. They don't know anything else although I do doubt if Shikaku or Kakashi bought our explanation for killing Danzo. Killing him? So you didn't tell them that he is still alive? He asks her and gets a shake of her head in the negative. That's fine, he will die in the future so it doesn't matter. But what about the shinobis he trained? Wouldn't they question his sudden disappearance? That's why I told some of my shinobis the truth about Danzo and ordered them to form a small group and capture his root ninjas. Tenzo had followed Sai discreetly to find Danzo's underground base and then we told his ninjas that Danzo is dead and gave them the option to either join or be in prison. They joined our ranks, she informs him. He did have some fine ninjas in his service, so it is good for the village. They all are suited for missions that the ANBU carries out, so maybe put them all in the ANBU Black Ops. Well, I will be leaving, I sense Sakura waiting outside wanting to talk to me, he gives a wave of his hand to her and leaves the room. Closing the door behind him, he walks out to see Sakura standing some distance away from him. Hello Naruto, how have you been? She greets him. I have been fine Sakura, how about you? He asks her and continues walking with Sakura walking by his side as they resume their talking. I'm well. I wanted to ask you something, she tells him and receives a nod in return. Do you hate me? Sakura questions with uncertainty. Do I hate you? Nah, he informs her. Sakura is surprised to hear his answer and deep down happy to hear him say, I did find you quite annoying whenever I remembered the conversations we had, but I don't hate you Sakura. Then what about all of the things you said to me after you returned? I always thought that I did something to upset you, she tells him, wanting to know the reasons why he said all of that. Besides, when I returned from my 3-year training trip you expected me to help you find and convince Sasuke to return to Konoha. So I just told you that I don't care about him and wouldn't go after you. That upset you didn't it? He looked at her and saw her nod. You expected the same old Naruto to return, but I changed in many ways, with major changes being how I saw people and the situation around me. Tell me one thing, what did you consider us before my training trip? He inquired about her. Well. I saw you as a friend and a team member of Team 7, Sakura speaks. Then tell me, after the failed mission of returning Sasuke to Konoha roughly 3 years ago, I returned heavily injured and was in the hospital for 3 days. Did you come to visit me and see how I was doing? He questions and waits for her to reply. Sakura was shocked when she heard his question. She hadn't visited him when he was injured. Nah Naruto she stammers and tries to give him an answer but is stopped from doing so. Don't bother trying to reply to that question and give an excuse Sakura, you also know that there is no answer to this question. Sakura drops her head in shame. He had always tried to cheer her up but she didn't even check on him. She said they were friends but did see him as a friend outside their team meetings. I don't blame you though. Most of the rookie 12 did the same as you, but I guess they all saw me as some loser that they couldn't be much bothered about. Only Shikamaru and Choji are the ones who I had even considered friends, but both were injured in the mission, so didn't visit me, he tells her, and gives a small smile. Sakura was upset with herself for how she treated him. I am terribly sorry Naruto for how I was with you. I took your friendship for granted and I cannot blame you for not wanting to talk to me, she says. Oh, it is not like I don't want to talk to you, it is just since I returned roughly 3 months back, I have been doing various missions. I am a member of the village and going on solo missions or some team missions here and there. We did go on an S-rank mission to Suna, didn't we? Naruto states. Sakura hesitates a bit to say the next thing she wants to, and Naruto notices it. I wouldn't eat you Sakura, ask whatever you want to. I wouldn't mind it. It's just that I wanted to still have you as a friend. So if it's okay with you, will you be my friend? She asks the question timidly and wouldn't have blamed him if he said no. Of course, why not? It won't kill me from having another friend, would it? He responds and smiles. Sakura was filled with joy that she had a chance to correct things between them, and as a good friend, let me treat you to some barbecue in this shop. He says and walks into a barbecue restaurant that was down the road. He goes up to the counter with Sakura beside him to ask for a table when the receptionist sees him and instantly recognizes him by his blonde hair and blue eyes and bows to him. Welcome Namikaze-sama. We are blessed to have you here in our restaurant. Groan softly please, there is no need for this. Just give us a table to sit at, he tells him. Of course Namikaze-sama, follow me please. I have the best seat in the restaurant for you, he speaks and walks ahead. Naruto hits his face with his hand in exasperation, while Sakura giggles hearing the conversation and looking at Naruto. They follow him and are given a big spot to sit which would fit 15 to 20 people in the area and a round table by the window, which enables them to see the general populace of Konoha going through their business. They sit down opposite each other and tell a waiter their order. You don't like being called that by others, do you? Sakura asks him. It's not that I don't like it, but it doesn't feel right to me. They don't have to call me Namikaze-sama just because my dad was Hokage. When I do something to earn their respect, then I won't mind it, Naruto tells her. How did your life change after you learned that the Yondaime Hokage is your father? I was happy, filled with joy that I got to know the names of my parents as I wanted to know about it all my childhood. It does annoy me how one of the villagers has turned completely opposite in how they treat me, except for the children of course, he says, and watches kids running after one another from the window. So? Do you hate them or the village in general for how they treated you? She asks curiously. No, I don't hate them. I just can't be bothered to do that with my life being in constant danger from Akatsuki. And I also realized that I would get nothing from hating them all eternity and trying to get revenge on the whole village. It may give me pleasure for a while, but after that, I would be left with no real motive in the world, he states and starts eating the pork and beef the waiter had brought to their table. Sakura joins him to eat a bit when suddenly someone shouts her name. Sakura. Naruto. They both turn to their side and see Team 10 and teammates standing there along with Kakashi, while Ino was waving at them. Naruto gives a small wave of his hand to all of them as they walk toward both of them. Ino. What are you doing here? Sakura asks her while the rest of them surround both of them and their table. Well Sakura, they are here to eat some barbecue like us and that's why they have entered the restaurant, haven't they? Naruto teases her as Sakura goes red-faced from embarrassment while the rest of them give silent laughs and Ino patted her shoulder. Naruto shifted to the end of his couch to give them the space to sit with Sakura understanding his intention and did the same. Join us, everyone as the Rookie 9 and their senseis will have lunch together. Although I don't know how you found Kakashi sensei and convinced him to join you guys, Naruto says and watches them sit one by one with Naruto and Sakura in the corner, while some of them had brought chairs from the side to sit there. The only thing notable in that commotion was that Ino quickly sat beside him and Hinata was nervous to try and sit near him and she sat at the opposite end. Kakashi was just wandering around the village reading that ridiculous orange book of his, so I told him to come with us as Mai and Asuma's team had our lunch planned from early, Kurenai says while glaring at Kakashi, who was still reading his book, but Kurenai snatched it away from him and threw it in the bin. Looking at the book in her hand, he remembered something that he had brought for Kakashi. Oh by the way Kakashi-sensei, it just hit me. I have got something for you, he says and unseals a blue book with make-out tactics written on it and presents it to him. Kakashi took it from him with trembling hands and looked inside it. The weird thing, some kind of light was coming out of the book. He then looks at Naruto. It's the new Icha books and this one is the first edition. This for me? He asks him just to be sure of it and gets a nod from him in return. Have I told you something about Naruto? If not then I will know, you were always my favorite student amongst all the ones I taught, Kakashi says and goes to read his new book, completely forgetting about the one in the bin. Hey. What about me sensei? Sakura questions him, but gets no reply from Kakashi who is immersed in his new pastime, facing away from Kurenai. Sakura sweat drops at the lack of reply, while the rest of them laugh except Kurenai, who was angry and upset, but this time at Naruto. Wow, how can you do that Naruto? It beats the whole point of me throwing it away. I didn't expect to have those books and read them, she speaks in an angry tone. Smirks, wouldn't you know why I read those books, Kurenai-chan? Naruto says cheerfully and watches as Kurenai understands what he meant and looks down with a blush on her face, which only Naruto was able to notice. Wait, how would Kurenai know you read them? Asuma asks him. Wait, why would you refer to Kurenai-sensei as a sister? Kiba asks him nearly a second after Asuma. "Oh, it's nothing, my mother was her sensei, so she saw me as a little brother through her connection with mother and told me to call her so," he tells them and then looks at Asuma, "and she caught me once reading it privately while she was also looking at it. She was pretty embarrassed by what she saw in it. And look, here comes more food, please suit yourself." Kurenai looks at him gratefully while Naruto just smiles at her. "Well, if your mother taught Kurenai, then your father taught me as well. Since you call Kurenai Ni-chan, then I expect you to call me Ani-chan," Kakashi tells him firmly. "I don't think I will do that. That would be pretty weird and you are fine as a sensei," he tells him. Kurenai sticks her tongue out to mock Kakashi, who has his head down in sadness. The rest of them laugh at his misery and start eating the food. "Naruto, I don't intend to be mean or anything, but Choji can eat a lot and that will cost you," Asuma tells him and leaves the last part for him to think. Naruto gave a wave of his hand to dismiss his worry and was about to speak when Kakashi interrupted him by answering first. "Ah, you make nice jokes, Asuma. It would take years before he runs out of money, with both his parents being exceptional ninjas who earned a lot and his father being the youngest Hokage. Damn, now he is like them and started going on various missions regularly," he says, and Naruto gives a small nod in return to confirm it. "Yes. I don't have to worry much about the quantity I eat now, thanks to Naruto," Choji says excitedly. He had been sitting there waiting for the food and as soon as it arrived, he dug into it. "What were you both doing here, Naruto, Sakura?" Shikamaru asks them in between his bites. "Yeah, tell us, Sakura and Naruto, were you both out on a date right now?" Ino asks them as Sakura has a small blush on her face. The question got everyone to stop except Choji and looked at them for an answer. Sakura wasn't going to say anything as she was trying to control her blush. "Please say no, Naruto-kun." Hinata kept chanting the slogan in her mind, her heart beating at a fast pace. We are on a date and we're going to kiss before you," interrupted the beautiful moment Ino, he tells them, and even Choji stopped midday on hearing that. All of them had their eyes wide open with Sakura looking at Naruto in shock. Hinata's whole world had shattered when he said it and tears were starting to come out of her eyes as she would have cried any minute now. Kurenai saw through it after a while as Naruto had told her earlier that he hadn't thought of dating anyone for the time being and hit him in his shin with her legs and motioned for him to see Hinata. Naruto decided to stop her from crying in front of all of them and ruin the mood. "Gosh, look at your faces right now. What would I not give to have a picture of it framed at my house?" "I was kidding, alright, we are not on a date," he informs them, much to the immense relief of Hinata. "Then what were you two doing here all alone?" Kiba asks him curiously. He had internally hoped that Naruto was telling the truth. Hinata, being the shy and batshit crazy Naruto girl she is, would have cried and run out. He would have then comforted her and tried to be her boyfriend. "What do you mean alone, Kiba? Aren't we sitting in a public place and near a window where anyone can see us? Are you implying that there is something between us?" He asks him as he had sensed Kiba's emotion for Hinata once and knew he was in love with her. Naruto got what he intended to by asking that question as Hinata was glaring at Kiba, daring him to say yes. "Then no, I was just curious, that is it," he says nervously under her gaze. "Ah, then say that, Kiba-chan. I met her after reporting a mission to Ba-chan and then we sat here to eat and talk for a while. It is normal for friends to eat together and talk, isn't it? Or does everyone assume that a boy and girl eating together means that they are dating? Though I won't mind dating Sakura if that is something you want to know," he says, and once again his answer had everyone dumbfounded and made them stop eating, while Sakura had red cheeks and tried to hide. Hinata's world, which had been fixing itself till now, was shattered into a million pieces once again. Kurenai just sighed knowing his tendency to joke. "Tuckles, I am joking. I am not interested in dating for a while, so no need to worry about it," he tells them and looks to his left outside the window and sports team guy walking down the road while Choji continues to eat. "Why are you just like Kakashi, Naruto? He also likes joking or annoying people by ignoring them," Asuma asks him while taking a glance at Kakashi, who was busy reading his book. "Hey, don't blame him, he is a #1 fan of these books that he read the last one 1,000 times for the plot. He wasn't going to wait to read this first edition masterpiece." Naruto had caught the eye of Neji among Team Guy and gave a small wave to him. He then motioned for him to join them with his team. Neji gave a short nod and told his team about the invite. Naruto then turned his attention back to the group inside and heard Asuma end his statement. You say something?" Naruto asks him as he had his eyebrow twitching in annoyance. Kakashi had a proud look on his face and stars in his eyes, while Kurenai had covered her mouth with her hand to laugh quietly. "Yosh. We are here," Guy and Lee shouted at the top of their voices together, startling every one of them, while Kiba cried in shock like a girl and got up in haste. Neji and Tenten were behind them, both looking embarrassed. "Kiba-chan, who knew you were scared so easily?" Naruto teases him. Kiba settles down in his seat and looks down embarrassingly. Everyone else had also got their senses controlled and eased. Why didn't their shouting scare you? Kiba asks him. That's because he saw us outside the restaurant and invited us to have lunch here, Niji responds and takes an empty seat beside Shino, An. Now before any of you Shino fans hate me because he hasn't spoken even once during the conversation, I would like to say that I seriously don't know what to write for him. My guy only speaks when it is important to, otherwise he will be just there. Be honest with yourself, many of you also didn't think of Shino while reading the convo. I mean, why would you think about him in the first place when I haven't mentioned him, so it is my mistake, but still, I don't know what to write for him. Yosh. Thank you Naruto-kun for inviting us here, Guy says and sits down beside Kakashi with Lee and Tenten also finding a place for themselves. Ah, it's fine, you were the only ones missing. Now it's changed from the Rookie 9 to the Konoha 12 having lunch together, Naruto says. Well, what were you guys talking about then? Tenten asks to try and join their conversation. Chapter 9. Immortal Duo. In the last chapter. Why are you just like Kakashi, Naruto? He also likes joking or annoying people by ignoring them, Asuma asks him while taking a glance at Kakashi, who was busy reading his book. Hey, don't blame him, he is a #1 fan of these books that he read the last one 1,000 times for the plot. He wasn't going to wait to read this first edition masterpiece. Naruto had caught the eye of Niji among Team Guy and gave a small wave to him. He then motioned for him to join them with his team. Niji gave a short nod and told his team about the invite. Naruto then turned his attention back to the group inside and heard Asuma end his statement. You say something? Naruto asks him as he had his eyebrow twitching in annoyance. Kakashi had a proud look on his face and stars in his eyes, while Kurenai covered her mouth with her hand to laugh quietly. Yosh. We are here, Guy and Lee shouted at the top of their voices together, startling every one of them, while Kiba cried in shock like a girl and got up in haste. Niji and Tenten were behind them, both looking embarrassed. Kiba-chan, who knew you were scared so easily? Naruto teases him. Kiba settles down in his seat and looks down embarrassingly. Everyone else had also got their senses controlled and eased. Why didn't their shouting scare you? Kiba asks him. That's because he saw us outside the restaurant and invited us to have lunch here, Niji responds and takes an empty seat beside Shino. Yosh. Thank you Naruto-kun for inviting us here, Guy says and sits down beside Kakashi with Lee and Tenten also finding a place for themselves. Ah, it's fine, you were the only ones missing. Now it's changed from the Rookie 9 to the Konoha 12 having lunch together, Naruto says. Well, what were you guys talking about then? Tenten asks to try and join their conversation. Nothing. It just seemed to me like Naruto hated me for some reason, so I wanted to ask him that. It was just a misunderstanding between us and then we came here to eat and talk for a bit, Sakura tells them. The rest of them continued talking either to one another or in general, discussing their daily life, how their missions went, etc. Naruto had tuned it out as he was lost in his own thoughts. Besides, the Akatsuki have got the one-tails and maybe they have progressed even further, who knows how many tailed beasts have they captured till now. A good thing about the current situation is that we were able to kill 2 of their members, Deidara and Sasori. Itachi also has been on our side from the start, but in the near future, he will die as well at Sasuke's hands. That is if Orochimaru doesn't take over his body. Heh, who am I kidding? I don't believe that he will allow Orochimaru to take control of him, not when Itachi is still alive. But it makes me think. If the Akatsuki has people like Itachi, Kisame, and Orochimaru in their ranks, all of them S-ranked ninjas in their unique way, then how strong would their leader be? Hiro Sennin hasn't been able to gather any intel upon him till now, but he is trying. I need something special for them. I wasn't even able to kill Kabuto with a Rasengan when I was 13. Something that would do a lot of damage. I have the option to learn Mokuton Jutsus, and that will give me an upper hand, as well as a surprising factor as no one would expect it. But that is in particular very lethal to my opponent, I will have to think about it. Maybe completing the Rasengan that Toussaint mentioned in his notes for the Jutsu. Naruto ponders as he looks out of the window to see the population of Konoha going about their business. He had a lot going on in his mind and the future seemed pretty uncertain. But no matter how hard it got, he would just continue with his life and try to achieve his goals. The one thing he liked about his young self was his optimism and never giving up attitude, he would never change that. No matter the situation, he would do his best at everything he did. Boy Naruto. Why are you spaced out on us like that? Kiba notices him staring at the streets of the village dully and asks him. Nothing in general. Just thinking about random stuff, Naruto tells him, but the ones who looked at him carefully knew that he was deep in his thoughts. Luckily he was saved from anyone else inquiring further about the topic. Sakura, you went on the mission to try and get information or maybe capture Sasori's spy who worked for Orochimaru. What happened there? Did you get any information on Sasuke-kun? No questions, although one could tell she was eager to know more about Sasuke than anything else. Sakura got disheartened on hearing her question and was gloomy staring at her plate. Kakashi answered the question in her stead. We went to the location of the bridge that Sasori gave us to meet his spy, and it turns out Kabuto was the guy we were going to meet. Yamato disguised himself as Sasori to converge with him, but all the time Kabuto never was against Orochimaru. It was a setup because Orochimaru came shortly and they wanted to kill Sasori. After that, we had a fight break out with me and Yamato taking on Orochimaru, while Sakura and Sai fought Kabuto. They were able to push him off, and I used my Mangekyo Sharingan's ability on Orochimaru to dismember one of his arms. They all had been paying close attention to the details he gave. Wait, you used the Mangekyo Sharingan again, is your vision not blurring in that eye and possibly leading to blindness? Naruto questions him. Itachi had informed him about the negative effects of overusing the Mangekyo Sharingan when he last met him. As of now. Wait, how do you know that the Mangekyo Sharingan can lead to blindness? I knew about the side effects of using this from watching Itachi 3 years ago when he came to Konoha, and when I tested it a couple of times, Kakashi had no idea where he got that information from as he had not told him about it. You have got yourself in a pinch here, brat. Sometimes you are like your younger self, just blabbering out things without thinking beforehand of the consequences of what you say. Kyuubi nags Naruto on Kakashi's question. You should be helping me out here rather than make the situation more difficult for me. What should I say? I was told this by Sasuke, yeah, by him. Naruto stammers out a response and he looks around to see everyone's attention on him to elaborate more. When we were fighting 3 years ago in the Valley of the End, he told me a bit about what he knew regarding the Mangekyo Sharingan. Scoffs, that's the best answer you could come up with. Hey. At least I tried. You didn't even offer any solution, and it's not like they will go to Sasuke to confirm whether what I said is true or not. Anyway, when I found out about the Mangekyo Sharingan, I used it 3 to 4 times to see what happened, but it took a lot of my chakra. So Tsunade-sama told me not to use it when absolutely necessary. Against Madara, I used it twice and the same number of times against Orochimaru. Both the times I was utterly exhausted after using it, Kakashi states. Till now I hadn't felt any other effects of using it other than chakra exhaustion, but if Naruto is saying that it could lead to blindness, then I will have to be careful. But what is this Mangekyo Sharingan that both of you are talking about, Naruto, Kakashi-sensei? I am hearing it for the first time, Sakura asks them both. My eternal rival, you never told me or used this other Sharingan of yours in our spar. What does it do, Kakashi? Guy had never seen any change in his Sharingan eyes till now, so he was pretty clueless as well on this matter. It's nothing, just another stage of the Sharingan. So sensei, what happened after you cut off one of Orochimaru's arms? Naruto questions Kakashi, trying to change the topic of the conversation. Since Kabuto was also getting cornered by both Sai and Sakura, they both decided to retreat and used a diversion to run away. Yamato had somehow placed a tracker on Kabuto, and we used that to trace their steps to a base a few miles away from Tenchi Bridge in Kusagakure. Kakashi was recollecting the details about the mission and telling them, but Sakura intervenes in between. There were many rooms in that base and we were told by Kakashi-sensei to check if Sasuke was there or get any information about him. I couldn't find him anywhere, but about 15 minutes later I heard an explosion and ran there to see Sai on the ground heavily injured and Sasuke was standing some distance away from him on a high platform. I healed Sai as much as I could and a couple of minutes later Kakashi and Yamato-sensei came to our location. We were in a tough spot. Sai was injured and I couldn't fight for more than 5 minutes after using my Mangekyo Sharingan. On the other hand, both Orochimaru and Kabuto were also injured, but it didn't come down to fight as they went away. It wouldn't have been possible for us to defeat them and try and bring Sasuke back, Kakashi states. We did try to reason with Sasuke to come with us for 5 minutes or something before Orochimaru and Kabuto came and they all went away. I tried to make some connection with him to bring him back, but he would not budge and come back, Sakura says, her voice breaking a bit in between when she mentioned her attempt to persuade him. But Kakashi-sensei, couldn't Yamato-sensei and Sakura fight against Sasuke before Orochimaru and Kabuto came and captured Sasuke? Surely he is not so strong that 2 people couldn't defeat him, Kiba says as he believed they could have captured him. He hears someone snort at his comment and looks around to see Naruto shaking his head. But Naruto, do you think I am wrong? I believe that they would have been able to capture him and Kakashi-sensei could have given some support in between, he comments angrily, not liking the fact that Naruto took his comment as a joke. You are wrong in your assumption, Kiba. Why? Because like Naruto-san, Sasuke-san has also trained under for the past 3 years. We saw the results of Naruto-san's training against Kakashi-sensei, so we should believe that both of them are on the same level in terms of skill. Sasuke-san was naturally good as a shinobi even in the academy days, Shino answered in a monotone voice, but no one could say that he was wrong. There is also the fact that Sasuke could have tried to kill Sai in that fight. I do not know who he is personally, but he is a hidden leaf shinobi and hence a comrade of ours. Niji chips in between, effectively shutting Kiba. Everyone was quiet around the table, having their own thoughts on the situation. Whispers softly, if only you were there, Naruto, you are strong enough to help us bring Sasuke back. We would have had him here in the village with us, sitting here and eating together, Sakura whispers while looking at the table. She wasn't paying attention around her. Since everyone was quiet, she was heard clearly. It wouldn't have worked, Naruto states. Sakura lifted her head to look at him. Even if I was there and we got Sasuke back to the village, it would have made no difference. Rather, it would have made him more outraged at us. What do you mean by Naruto? Sakura is right, we all saw what you are capable of, and if you weren't so stubborn about it, then he would have been here, Ino comments in support of her friend. Naruto had been irritated by both of them. Why was he expected to be the one to bring or help bring Sasuke back? He was not his damn babysitter, and they expected him to look out for him. He has made his intentions clear on these matters, that he wants no part of it, but they still don't understand it. He would have said some nasty stuff to both of them, but decided to stay quiet after all. Sakura had apologized earlier to him, no point in going back to square one with her. What I am saying, Ino, is that he is hell-bent on having his revenge on Uchiha Itachi. That's why he left the village in the first place. If we got him back here, he would be locked up in prison for months as he deserted the village. That would make his revenge more difficult to obtain, and he would isolate himself from everyone here, do you understand? Naruto receives a slow nod from her when she understands the situation. Sakura, just get this, he got her full attention when he mentioned her name. When Sasuke gets his revenge on Itachi, he would have completed the one thing that drives him and is his goal. With nothing on his mind after that, there is a possibility that he may come back to the village. So wait patiently till then. Sakura goes through the word he said for a bit, and seeing his logic, she smiles happily and gives him her thanks. Look at you, giving her false hope that the Uchiha will come back. You know what you found in that snake's lab could have major repercussions and affect his thinking, the Kyuubi utters. I had to get her mind off the fact that if I was there then I could have brought him back. That wouldn't have worked at all. Until he doesn't come back to Konoha himself, he will not be happy if we keep him here and will try to find ways to leave again and cause trouble. That being said, if Orochimaru knew Itachi's real alliance was with us and that Danzo and the elders ordered him to kill the clan, what's to say that someone else won't know about it? I am telling you, that kid can be easily fooled and brought to anyone's side. First, his brother has been lying to him for so long, and then Orochimaru promised him power, and the Uchiha went to him. If he is told the truth, then he can be easily persuaded to do as the one who told him the truth wishes to do so. In the quest for revenge, Uchiha don't see the problems they cause others. I have seen Madara go to unimaginable lengths for his younger brother. Naruto told everyone that he would be returning home and went to pay the bill for the lunch. Following him, one by one, everyone went their separate ways. The next day. Naruto got up early that day as he was told to meet Tsunade in her office. She had summoned Kitsune yesterday to inform him about it. After doing an S-rank mission, all the shinobis needed to have a week's rest, but he didn't want it. He would have gone to his training ground and done some practice or maybe learned a new jutsus. Naruto had a crazy idea of maybe going to ask Lee for a taijutsu spar as well, but by the time he had decided on whether to go or not, Tsunade had summoned him. Getting dressed up and having a quick breakfast, he didn't even bother to leave via the house door, but simply arrived in her office in a yellow flash, startling Shizune there. Yo Ba-chan. You called me early this morning. Naruto greets her and then takes notice of the people in the room to see Kakashi and Yamato there. Kakashi wanted to talk to you about furthering your training, and he has an idea that might help you, Tsunade lets him know. Naruto turns towards Kakashi and raises an eyebrow at him. The last time Jiraiya-sama was here, he told me some places where you could improve, and one of them is improving or completing the Rasengan. So, I and Tenzo over here will be helping you with it, Kakashi tells him. That's fine. Wait, isn't his name Yamato or something? Why are you calling him Tenzo? Naruto asks him and looks sideways to see Yamato Tenzo Fasipum. Kakashi-senpai, how many times have I told you not to call me that? Size, just call me Yamato. Naruto. Tenzo is the name I used in the ANBU Black Ops unit, Yamato informs him. Naruto nodded at that and was going to ask for more information about what they would do when Tsunade interrupted them. Get out of here and do whatever talking you need to do outside the room. I have work to do here, Tsunade says as she continues reading different papers and signing them. Meet us in training ground 7 Naruto, Kakashi notifies him, and both he and Yamato leave via Leaf Shunshin. Naruto arrives there 5 minutes later. Now that you are here, let's continue. The Rasengan is an incomplete A-rank ninjutsu that sensei created. You Naruto will be completing it, Kakashi tells him. I know that much, Kakashi-sensei. Toussaint mentioned that it was incomplete and an element could be added to it, Naruto muses and kicks a random rock away. Yes, an element precisely wind nature would be a lot easier to do so. But one must have absolute mastery over the wind element. Do you have complete control over it? Kakashi asks him. Yeah, I did perform all the training methods required to have complete control over all my elements when I went on the training trip. For my wind chakra nature, it was Iro Sennin who told me whatever he knew about. I had to cut a leaf in half using wind chakra, then cut a rock into many pieces, forcing my wind chakra through it, and in the end, I had to channel it through a kunai and my katana, making their blades sharper and longer, Naruto tells them, recalling all that he had done. The Konoha doesn't have many Fuutan-style users in its ranks, with the best of them being Sarutobi Asuma. Suna has many shinobis who have a wind chakra nature. So we never truly know the correct techniques required to master the element, Yamato replies. Before coming here I did ask Asuma if he knew anything that would help Naruto in mastering the wind nature element, and he said that using wind chakra to cut a waterfall will help him, so that is what we will do for now, Kakashi says, and brings out his book to read while lying around. Well, I get it that you will be here sitting idly and giving me some advice in between. Kakashi doesn't show any emotion, clearly ignoring him, and I don't want to be rude, but what is Yamato-san doing over here? I am here to help you regain control over yourself and your mind if you overexert yourself in the training and release the Kyuubi's chakra in the process. With my Mokuton Jutsu and the necklace of the Shodai Hokage, I will be able to suppress it. Shodai-sama's ability to restrain any tailed beast was enhanced by the necklace. Yamato informs Naruto of his involvement as Naruto takes out both the necklace and pendant he is wearing and has a closer look at the jade necklace for a few seconds. Ah yes, they do not know that I am capable of using Mokuton, not that I know any at this point in time. Let me think, who knows about me being capable of using Mokuton Kekkei Genkai till now? It is just Bachan and Iro Sennin, no one else. It will come out sometime in the future, but it is best if I can hide it for a while, as it will save me the headache of answering everyone's questions. Naruto ponders on it and looks ahead to see Yamato create a waterfall in the training ground and then a horizontal wooden branch going across the waterfall for him to stand on. At best I can control 3 tails worth of Kyuubi's chakra till now. That shouldn't cause a problem with my training, although I cannot go to a further stage in using the 9 tails chakra. Is there any specific process through which I can direct Kyuubi's chakra and use it? Naruto removes his plain white shirt and a grey fishnet beneath it, leaving him in his ANBU black jeans. He removes his headband, letting some of the blonde spiky hair fall freely. His hair had grown a lot but was kept back because of the headband, now the red-tipped hair was covering his right eye a bit. The necklace of the Shodai Hokage and the silver pendant were both freely suspended in the air as he jumped onto the branch. Placing both his hands on the surface of the water, Naruto gathers wind chakra in his hands and applies them to the water's surface. The wind chakra-laced hands do disrupt the flow of water for a while, but then it stops under the force of falling water. Naruto backs up a bit, crosses the fingers on both his hands and creates around 25 clones. There is no need for him to communicate any message to them as they continue with their creator on the exercise needed to be done. Every single one of them collected wind chakra, concentrated it around their hands, and tried to create a gap in the waterfall. Meanwhile near Land of Fire. Oi Kakazu. Where are we going now? We just captured the 2 tails, shouldn't we be sealing it? Hayden asks his partner as they both enter the Land of Fire. They are preparing for the sealing process which will take time. Till then we are going to a temple in the Land of Fire. I have some work there. Aha. You are also getting swayed by the religion of God. Jashin-sama, I have been able to convert one of the friends into your followers, Hayden exclaims while looking towards the sky. Shut up. Can't you skip always preaching about your God and religion for once? We are going to kill someone for a bounty in the temple. Kakazu was irritated by his partner's constant babbling about his God. He takes out a map to check the direction of the temple they are headed to. Boy. You're not after money, are you? You'll go to hell if you kill a monk for something like that. I don't care about things like that. I have been left in charge of the Akatsuki finances. Money is the key that opens all doors. Money is the religion I follow. Ah. There you go again. Money this and money that. You are no fun. Maybe some of the other monks in the temple would want to convert to the Jashin religion. Be quiet, Hayden. It will not take much time for me to kill you right here. Brones, I am really sick of how lousy you are at conversation. A nice trip is totally ruined if you get stuck traveling with a boring person. We are not traveling for fun. Just shut up and keep walking. We are late. I don't have the time to join in your diversions. And besides. At some point after the mission, glances at Hayden, I'll send you to the next world so that you won't get bored in this one. Not that again. Oh, man. I hope our next opponent has enough fight in them so I can let off some steam. Naruto had been trying to accomplish the current task at hand for a few hours non-stop at the moment, continuously trying to get some success in it. If one of the clones collected too much wind chakra then, because of the sharp and piercing nature of that type of chakra, his clones would get dispelled. He needed the correct amount of wind chakra to break the flow of the waterfall, and then the necessary control and mastery over it for breaking the flow over a long period. Okay, Naruto, stop for now and get some rest, Kakashi instructs him and looks on to see Naruto come to a tree near them and sit for a moment near it. You have been doing it for some time, what do you get from it? I do know how to channel wind chakra and then try and cut the waterfall, but it's just not happening. My clones blow up if they put too much chakra and nothing happens if they put less chakra into it. I have to create a steady amount of chakra to break the flow. For this training, you need to instantly create a change in chakra nature in a large amount or else you won't be able to cut the waterfall. Yamato informs him on what is needed to be done for completing the task at hand. Tell me, Naruto, what do you know about the change in wind chakra nature in general? The wind change in chakra nature splits chakra into two and grinds them together. It is achieved by utilizing two opposing chakra currents, which are ground against each other in such a manner that they sharpen one another into fine pieces. To say that both Kakashi and Yamato were immensely impressed by his explanation wouldn't have been wrong. Heck, it was the first time they had heard someone explain the change in wind chakra so clearly, except for Asuma. You continue to impress me, Naruto. Where it would have been impossible for your younger self to even make head or tail of this explanation, you are here having a complete grasp of what is to be done. I wouldn't have been able to give you that detailed description of it, Kakashi thinks proudly, both for his student and his sensei's son. Naruto takes out one of his and throws it at the nearby tree. Normal kunai was able to penetrate that tree over there, but when I do this, he takes the kunai back in his hand and coats it in wind chakra. He flicks his wrist and watches as the kunai passes through the tree. Wind chakra is used to increase the sharpness of bladed weapons, so much so that in the hands of experienced users, even small blades are capable of piercing substantial rocks easily. I have to say, Naruto, that was a splendid answer to my question. Many don't know the answers to such questions in Konoha. Well, you know everything about the concept behind it, so continue with your training. Naruto gives them a quick nod and goes back to complete the training. 3 days later. Finally. I have done this exercise. Ah, thank God, I was going mad doing the same thing over and over and not getting results, Naruto shouted excitedly. He had been at it for the past few days and got irritated a bit when he got no new progress. But he had done it after so much hard work that he put in. Well done, Naruto. Now that you have completed this process, we can move on to the last part of the training that is required, Kakashi states. Both he and Yamato had been watching him slowly but surely progress in his training. So what's next for me now, Kakashi-sensei? I have a good grasp over the change in wind nature of my chakra, now I just add it into the Rasengan. We'll get to that, but first we will go over some of the factors that are present when doing the Rasengan or other, Kakashi says, and creates a Rasengan by only using his right hand. Rasengan is a with only the change in chakra form taken to the extreme, you do know that, right? Hi, change in chakra form, or in the book which I read it was written as shape transformation. It is an advanced form of chakra control that involves controlling the form, movement, and potency of one's chakra, determining the size, range, and purpose of a technique. Rasengan is the ultimate example of shape manipulation. It does not require the use of hand seals. By rotating and compressing the power of my chakra, I shape it into the form of a sphere. Naruto mentions every information that he has on the subject. You know, I still sometimes find it hard to believe that all of this is coming from you. Size, I guess I have to get used to it, Kakashi taunts him with an eye smile present on his face. Naruto's eyebrows twitch, but he doesn't show any other reaction to his remark. You are correct though. With a change in chakra nature added to the change in chakra form. For example, Kakashi goes through two hand signs, Ushiyu, resulting in electric currents coming out of his hands, Chidori. Not only does this jutsu use the change in chakra nature to shift my chakra nature into lightning, but it also uses change in chakra form to transform it into an electrical discharge and control its range and power. You once said to Sensei that I won't be able to do the Chidori without the Sharingan. Why is that so? Naruto asks him as he didn't have many lightning-style jutsus to use. It would have been a good inclusion for him. I wasn't able to combine the Rasengan change in chakra form with my lightning change in chakra nature. So I created the Chidori, but there was a problem in using it which Minato-sensei pointed out. During my first mission as a Jounin, I used this to try and defeat an enemy. However, due to the speed requirements needed to use this jutsu at its full potential, it created a tunnel vision that blocked out everything except for the person I was aiming for. The Sharingan helped me here, giving me the ability to predict the opponent's movements, which helped me in overcoming the problem. Naruto was able to comprehend what the problem may have been for Kakashi, and he could see where the problem lay. If his focus was on getting someone with a Chidori, then it would create a sense of tunnel vision for him, blocking all the other aspects around him completely. That could lead to a fatal injury against any strong opponent, maybe even death in some cases. And boy is his opponent not just some run-of-the-mill shinobis. All of them are S-rank shinobis. You could say that he was born with some damn rotten luck. Listen up Naruto, when you take chakra and add in change in chakra form and change in chakra nature, the attack power of a shinobi rises dramatically. Although there are hardly any shinobi who can use both changes in chakra form and nature, Yamato's voice brought him out of his musings as he carefully listened to what he said. From the training that you have done with Uraya-sama and the one which you did, you have obtained the wind change in chakra nature. And you already possess the ultimate change in chakra form. The Rasengan. It is already an A-rank jutsu, and if I am able to add my wind chakra into its constitution, then I will have an S rank with me. Excellent. I needed a jutsu that could hit hard, Naruto says excitedly. This is what he had needed for a while, and this may become his trump card in his upcoming fights. Alright then Naruto created many clones and tried to add wind chakra into the Rasengan. Naruto gives a nod to Kakashi and creates numerous shadow clones to fill the area, who then work on completing the A-rank jutsu. Kakashi lays down on the ground, takes out his book, and starts reading it, while Yamato sits cross-legged on the ground to keep an eye on Naruto if things go haywire. At the village gates. The two eternal gate guards Chunin Izumo and Kitetsu could be seen once again doing the duty for which they got the nickname among their peers. Guarding the village gates. Kitetsu was idly playing with his pen, flipping it and rotating it here and there on his fingers, while Izumo rested his head on the table. Groans man this is so boring. Ugh, Kitetsu does something to entertain me. What do you mean to do something? Do I look like some kind of performer here? I am also dying here by sitting idly here in the sunshine, he replies while looking sideways to see Izumo stretch up a bit in his seat. Is there nothing going on in the village currently? Has there been no recent news for us to discuss? Let me think about it. There hasn't been much going on recently in the village. The last news that spread like wildfire amongst the shinobi and civilian populace was about Naruto Uzumaki being the son of the Yondaime Hokage. Ah yes, that whom we saw in the exams beat the Hyuga prodigy. And he goes by the name of Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto now. He has taken his father's name as well. That will bring him many enemies. Did you not hear from others in the bar last time we were there? They said that the Yondaime Hokage took his test on his return and he was able to beat Kakashi in sparring. He even got promoted to a jounin before us. Kitetsu says disbelievingly while he has his head down in shame. Yeah, they also told us that he beat one of the Akatsuki members with Kakashi when he went to the rescue of the Kazekage. I think he would be very strong if he was able to do this much. His teacher is the legendary Gama, what do you expect from one of his students? His last student was Yondaime and now his son is also trained under him. Why are we only chunins? We saw that kid in front of our eyes as a genin take part in the exam and the next thing we hear about him, he's a fucking jounin. Most of the time we are stuck here doing guard duty and it's not even integers. Hey Izumo, do you see someone in the distance running toward us? Kitetsu asks his partner as he took a look outside while he was talking. Izumo places his hand on his forehead to block the sun from his vision and get a better look. Yeah, it's someone who looks in a hurry to come here. Get your weapons out Kitetsu just in case we need them. Izumo takes out a kunai and they both walk up a bit ahead to intervene with the runner and ask him some questions. Stop right there. State your reason to come to the village hidden in the leaves. Izumo shouts at him when he is near. They get a closer look at him to see a bald person wearing white-colored clothes, probably a monk. Ansai, I am a monk from the fire temple in the land of fire. I need to speak with your Hokage. Please, it is urgent. Izumo looks at Kitetsu for a moment and they both share a nod. Quickly signaling ANBU to come there and escort the monk to the Hokage's office without any trouble. Hokage's tower. I see. The Akatsuki attacked your temple and they even got Chiriku, huh? Tsunade says while going over what the monk from the temple had reported to her. This was bad news as it meant that the Akatsuki are currently in the land of fire, which could possibly mean that they were here for the tailed beast in Naruto. But why would they go after Chiriku was beyond her. I was assigned patrol duty by my seniors. And by the time I returned, everything there was destroyed and it was too late, the monk states. We cannot let them leave the land of fire. This is an opportunity for us to possibly kill 2 more members of the Akatsuki as well. Shizune, bring the 10 newly formed platoons to the roof of the Hokage tower immediately. Hi Tsunade-sama. Shizune scurries her way out of the room to alert the platoon members of an immediate meeting order from the Hokage. Tsunade went to the roof of the tower after 10 minutes to see everyone already there. There were 10 teams of 4 members each there that she had formed keeping their shinobi skills and track records in mind. One team consisted of Sarutobi Asuma, Nara Shikamaru, Hagane Kitetsu, and Kamizuki Izumo, and another team consisted of the other 2 members of Team 10, with 2 random members. Now that everyone's here, listen carefully because I will not repeat it. This morning we got a report from a monk of the fire temple that they were attacked by the Akatsuki and they have killed everyone there. I need every one of you to go and search for them all over the land of fire. They should not be allowed to roam freely here. Are there any questions? Tsunade briefs them on the task they have in hand. She looks around to see Asuma raise his hand and gives him a nod to continue. Jiriku, a former member of the Guardian Shinobi 12, should be there. Is there any news about him? Tsunade gives a soft sigh at his question, she should have known he would ask that. She gives a glance to the monk on her left, who had his eyes closed and was looking at the ground. When I reached the temple, a lot of my fellow monks were dead and some were heavily injured as well but alive. I asked them where Chiriku-sama was and they told me that the two Akatsuki members had killed him. It had come as a shock to Asuma who had his eyes wide at the news. He had formed a bond with Chiriku when he was gone for 3 years from Konoha and it saddened him that his friend was dead. For the pride of Konohagakure and most of all, for the safety of the people in the land of fire, we can't allow them to rampage any further. Don't let them out of the land of fire, no matter what. Dismissed. Every one of them went their separate ways to cover part of the land of fire to find the two Akatsuki members. Asuma and his team could be seen jumping across rooftops and they were going in the direction of the village gates. We will start searching for them by going to the fire temple first. From there we can get more information about them and then we can try and trace their footsteps, is that understood? Asuma asks them and gets a nod from each of his team members, let's go then. He commands as every one of them starts jumping across different tree branches in the direction of the temple. Asuma-sensei. Do you know this Shuriku person from the fire temple because from your reaction to his death it seemed like that? Shikamaru asks him while both Katetsu and Izuma run along them and listen. Ah, I haven't told any of you about him have I? He was my brother in arms when I left the village to join the Guardian Shinobi 12. He was the first one to connect with me there, Asuma says with a smile on his face as he remembers the old days. 3 days of search later. Shikamaru watched helplessly as Haiden pierced a rod through his own heart, but that wasn't what the problem was. It was his jutsu that caused a lot of trouble, and under the effect of the jutsu was Asuma. He watched as Asuma went to his knees, blood spurting out of his mouth, while Haiden's body was showing skeleton's bones, and he was standing in a circle of sorts made from blood. He ran towards his sensei, but his legs gave up from the fight they had been a part of all day as he fell to the ground. Flashback. It had been 3 days since they were given the mission by the Hokage to find the two Akatsuki members and kill them. They had gone to the temple where they learned some new information. Reading it from the bounty book, they had speculated that the two Akatsuki members would have taken Chiriku's body to a bounty collection office. Going over a map of the land of fire, they had to search 5 bounty collection offices that they could have gone to. And thus 3 days had passed since then trying to find them, and they were on the hunt again after resting a bit, making the current day number 4. Are we certain that we will find both of them here? This is the last of the offices, and thus far we haven't had any success, Izumo says as they are on their way to the last possible location of the Akatsuki. We will find them there. We have to find them there otherwise I don't know what I will do, Asuma said with absolute certainty, making the two Eternal Guard Chunins a bit motivated to find them. Shikamaru was the one who saw the desperation on his face. Asuma-sensei, I think this Chiriku monk meant a lot to you if you are desperate to find the two Akatsuki members. Even if we do find them, do not make hasty decisions because of your need to kill them. They had been running for 30 minutes in complete silence when they cleared the forest area and saw a building in front of them. Looking closely, they saw. Wait here, Asuma suddenly voices and makes a halt sign with his hand. There you see him in that dress, black with red clouds. That's our guy, he says as all of them get a good look at one of the Akatsuki guys. He was sitting on the steps of the building with a large triple-bladed scythe on his back. Okay, I have worked out a plan, but you will have to follow it as I describe, Shikamaru says while he looks around to see any signs of the other Akatsuki members. Haiden was sitting on the steps outside the collection office. He couldn't stay in there as it reeked of rotten flesh in the basement, so he had to come out. He could never understand what it was with Kakazu and his craze with money, always delaying them from capturing because of it. He heard the sound of footsteps behind me. Took you long enough, Kakazu. I was dying of bore. He was saying when he heard shurikens being drawn and looked back to see 4 shurikens heading towards him. Quickly drawing his scythe out he blocked all of them out. He jumped back a bit to create some distance between what he saw was a Konoha shinobi attacking him. Fell right into the trap. Kage main no jutsu, shadow imitation technique, success. Shikamaru said proudly, he had his hands in the ram sign while holding Haiden in one fixed place with his shadow. He had climbed to the top of the tower and hid there to trap him. Now Izumo, Katetsu. Asuma shouts. Haiden looks to the ground to see his shadow being held by the guy on the roof, removing his ability to move. He sees two shadows coming from opposite each other and in the next second, he is pierced at vital spots by two kunai blades. Ouch. That hurts. What is it with you jerks trying to kill me? Haiden said while blood was flowing from his wound. The shock was present on all the four Shinobis' faces as they looked at him incredulously. Izumo tried twisting the blade more but only got shouts of discomfort from him. Oi. Oi. Stop that. Don't you know how painful this is? He shouts at them, disregarding the bewildered looks on their faces. Oh, how is this possible? We both aimed for your vital spots. You shouldn't be alive, Katetsu says, stammering a bit at the start. Is this guy immortal? Izumo questions, as he had not seen him even fazed by being pierced through two vital spots. Isn't it obvious? So. Who are you guys? Haiden asks them and then has a look at Asuma's sash, which is given to the one who spent time protecting the leader of the Land of Fire. That mark, I saw it on one of those monks we killed. Jiriku Asuma takes out his double and channels wind chakra into them, coating them in a blue aura. We are Konoha shinobi and were ordered to capture one of you and kill the other. Seeing as you were alone we went after you first with the intent to kill, but you are tough, as expected from the members of Akatsuki. So this is the Akatsuki, huh? What insane ability. And to think Naruto is going up against 10 of them. My Kage Nui no Jutsu, shadow sewing technique, won't work on him. Shikamaru's brain was working in overdrive to think of a possible solution when he sensed someone coming behind him. There was a loud bang with some parts of the top of the building broken and rocks and dust were flying everywhere. Just as Asuma was going to call out for Shikamaru, said person jumped out of the smoke and landed some distance away. Ha! The jutsu's broken. Haiden shouts and brings his scythe back by the rope that was attached to it. Izumo and Katetsu joined Shikamaru to stand with him and soon were joined by Asuma. The guy in the middle. He also has a bounty on his head. Haiden, we are going for his bounty as well. When he is in front of the bounty collection office, Kakazu informs him while looking at the group of 4 Konoha shinobi. Kakazu. You stay out of this. I will kill all of them for my ritual and offer them to Jashin-sama. I'll give you the money. The guy with the scythe is Haiden. And the other one with green eyes is Kakazu, huh? Very well. But don't get careless, you will die. Heh. Don't give me that, as if they could kill me. Let them try, Haiden gloats while forming a circle and then a triangle inside of it by his legs and his blood that was on the ground. What is this diagram? He said something about offering us Jashin and performing a ritual. Where do the Akatsuki find such members for themselves? Shikamaru ponders on what the circle could possibly mean. Flashback end. From there on, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. His plan was perfect, distract the one sitting on the steps and force him to land in the trap. Restrict him by his clan's jutsu and then Izumo and Katetsu would finish him, but he had to be immortal. Asuma had been acting a bit off as well, Shikamaru thought it was because of his friend, Chiriku. He had thought of different strategies and they had tried it all, but in the end, it didn't work out because the guy just wouldn't die. Haiden was immortal and they all had limited chakra, stamina and they could die. That jerk took some of their shurikens head on just because he wouldn't die from them. The biggest twist came when he nicked Asuma's cheek with his scythe and licked his blood off of it. Asuma had covered him in ash and then used a Kaiten jutsu to burn him, but instead, the right side of his face and arm got burned. His entire skin had taken the color of a skeleton. He had stabbed himself in the leg, but its effect was felt by Asuma. Aiden's jutsu had caused both his and Asuma's body to be linked together with some curse. Whatever pain he left, Asuma felt it too. From all the words that Haiden had used while praising himself or taunting them, he had concocted a theory about how his jutsu worked. God. Jashin. Ritual. Curse. Preparation. The blade he used wasn't meant to land a single heavy blow, but its 3 blades helped increase his attack range. After getting the blood of his opponent, he could curse them, making his wounds interconnect with his opponent's wounds. He had got him out of that circle with his clan's technique and confined him. After breaking the curse, Asuma had cut Haiden's head off, but he was still alive. And then the other Akatsuki member had come in and joined his head to his body. That is how he got here. Shikamaru was on the ground powerlessly watching Asuma slowly die from his wounds, while Kakazu had both Izumo and Katetsu held by their throats, as his hands were attached to the limbs by strings. Asuma. He said weakly and tried to get up, but his legs wouldn't move. He shakily got up and charged at them only for Kakazu to throw Izumo at him, making them tumble and fall to the ground. Damn. I am so weak. Boy Kakazu. I am done here. He looked back to see a fat guy in red battle armor take his kill away. Shikamaru, we are here to help you, Ino says while helping him get up, while one of the others attacks Kakazu with a kunai, making him leave his hold on Izumo and Katetsu. They all regroup on the top of the tower, with the reinforcements looking out at the Akatsuki members for possible attacks. Reinforcements, huh? Ha. It doesn't matter, we will kill you all as well. Let's go Kakazu. Hayden said and was going to charge at everyone on the rooftop of the building. Hayden. Kakazu. You are to report to the base. It is time for the sealing of the two tails. What? Now? Can't you wait for a little longer, the fun is about to begin, Hayden implores. He wouldn't get such a chance to sacrifice so many people to his lord at once. Doesn't matter. The sealing takes more precedence than whatever you are currently doing. Hi. Leader Sama. I'll be back for my bounty, till then take care of him, Kakazu says as they both leave with a shunshin. Joji. Quickly take Asuma-sensei and get out of here. Ino, go with him and do whatever medical ninjutsu you can to make sure he is alive, Shikamaru orders them both. Asuma was alive but barely. His heartbeat was slowing down. No. Need. I am on my own. Last breath. Even you realize that? Asuma says slowly while Shikamaru places his head under his hand. Ino quickly uses her medical ninjutsu to stabilize him, but as soon as she goes over his body, she recognizes that he has been pierced at 4 vital spots. The clouds cover the sun, and soon it darkens with thunder rolling in the clouds. You know. I think now I realize. What Otu-san meant that day. When he asked me if I knew who the king of the village was. I would like to say something to the three of you, my last words to you. Ino. You are strong-willed and determined. You have come far from where you started under me. Take care of these two for me. Asuma says while looking toward her. She gives a nod with tears streaming down her face. And don't let Sakura beat you. In ninjutsu or love. He knew of his students' rivalry with Sakura, which motivated her to keep improving. Joji. You have a big heart. You don't want to hurt anyone and you care for your comrades. Become strong Choji. Have more confidence in yourself and your abilities. Hi. Sensei, Choji says, and he wasn't able to control his tears from leaking out. And? Try to diet once in a while and be healthy. That would be impossible, but I will try for you, he says while rubbing his eyes by his shirt sleeves. And? Shikamaru. You have great intellect. And sharp instincts as a shinobi. You could become a great shinobi. Heh, you're lazy so you would find that troublesome as well, he jokes with a weak smile on his face. I never once beat you at shogi. Oh yes. The story about the king. Bring your ear closer. He requests and tells him about who the true king of Konoha is, who is to be protected with utmost priority. I want one last smoke. He requests him. Shikamaru gives him a cigarette and lights it for him, Asuma takes a big puff out of it. I am very proud to call you my team. No matter wherever life takes you. Don't forget that you will always be a part of Team 10. With that, the cigarette from his mouth fell to the ground. Sensei. Ino cries out as she keeps her head on his chest while crying heavily. Choji also wasn't able to control his tears while Shikamaru stands up and grips the lighter tightly in his hands, and the rest of them stood there watching Asuma take his last breath sadly. It slowly started to rain with the raindrops falling faster with the passing second. Day 5 of training. AN. The start of him creating new Rasengan and Asuma's team finding the Akatsuki members went hand in hand. Since then, on the 4th day, they encountered Hayden and Kakazu, while Naruto trains for these 4 days. The day was the 5th day when Naruto woke up early from his bed to continue his training. He had been going almost non-stop in an effort to complete the Rasengan, but as his sensei said, it wouldn't have been that easy to do so. He got up from his bed and made his way to the washroom. Splashing some water on his face to get the tiredness and laziness out of him, he looks at himself in the mirror once. Nothing different than the usual that he looks like. His spiky kind of rich yellow, blonde hair which also had red tips, covered part of his right eye when it was allowed to fall freely on his face. He remembers the giant statue of Uchiha Madara which showed his right eye, as well as half his face, was covered by his hair. It looked good on him but not so on Naruto. For him it was better that his hair went over some portion of his eye, not completely hiding the blue orb beneath it. When he wasn't tying the back of his hair it reached the middle of his back, but after coming from his training trip, he had cut it to reach just till his shoulders. Going over to the shower, he removes his dress and steps into the shower. Turning the knob on, he relishes the relief that the hot water brings when it goes over his body. He allows the water to run over his body while he is in deep thought about his training. Where am I going wrong? I have been at it for the past 4 days, but I cannot seem to make any progress in it. Every time I make a Rasengan and add my wind chakra to it, I cannot contain its increase in power, and it just blows up on me. No matter how little wind chakra I start to add, I have to increase it to make a new jutsu, but I can't do it. There has to be a way to somehow control its power first. Sighs, I will look into doing something different today. He walks out of the bathroom with a towel wrapped around his waist and another one hanging around his neck. He gets dressed quickly to continue his training. He wears a fishnet vest and navy blue pants under it. He had his and other stuff sealed on his wrists so that he never had to think about forgetting them. Over the vest, he wears a light purple full-sleeved shirt. No use of wearing any specific clothes when these will get dirty or torn during the training. No need to take my sword or wear the black cloak when I am not on a mission. With that, he takes a small breakfast of eggs, bacon, and bread with some juice and runs to get to the training ground. Jumping off a tree and landing on the ground, he looks around to see Yamato-sensei talking to Izumo. And Kakashi-sensei wasn't present there. "Ah, Naruto, I was looking for you. I am to inform you of Kakashi-senpai's absence. We won't be doing any training today," Yamato informs him when he senses Naruto coming closer. "Why? What did Izumo tell you?" Naruto inquires. "I got told of this now, but the Hokage and other important officials got the news yesterday late evening. Sarutobi Asuma is dead." Naruto thought that he didn't hear him correctly for a second and waited for a bit. Getting no other reaction from him confirmed the truth. Asuma-sensei was dead. He didn't know what to say. What to think about this? How? What happened? Naruto asks him. Asuma along with Shikamaru, Izumo, and Katetsu had fought 2 Akatsuki members yesterday. Naruto was stunned to hear that, and one of them managed to kill Asuma. "We are to go to his funeral right now, Naruto," Yamato informs him and leaves to prepare for the funeral. The Akatsuki, how did they come across the group? And why did the Akatsuki kill him when all they want are the tailed beasts? I will have to ask about what happened from Bachan or someone. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoy it. Turn on that bell notification. Like, subscribe and comment down below. And also check out the others videos I have created and enjoyed it. See you guys next video.